I have to ask this to begin with. Is anybody watching The Boys?
Nope.
How are you not?
Dude, okay. So did you finish it?
Yes, so to speak.
For everybody listening, I have Gomez with me today. And Casey with me today.
What up?
Joe and Chris are both on assignment. It's going to get rough. July's going to get rough.
Is Joe okay?
Joe's okay. He's okay.
The Japanese prime minister was assassinated.
Oh, I know. I'm not sure how that affects the anime world, but I'll have him take a look. Well, I say all the time, man. I'm like, I say when we get into our little pseudo political discussions, I'm like, dude, you're Chinese.
Yeah.
You're a culture vulture right now for the Japanese. You don't get to just have that.
Yeah, I was trying to be racist on purpose with my joke.
But so did you finished it, The Boys,
so to speak?
Yeah. So yeah, big heavy on it. What did you think?
I thought you was going to save it today, and I thought that there was a lot of things that were predictable, but I was okay with. So, for instance, his son.
It's going to be spoilers, so just go with it.
Yeah, if you ain't watching it, I'm sorry.
So I actually read about it. I just read through it, what happens and everything. So I know what
the gist,
where it's going and how it's going to end and all that.
You knew early on when he said, and you know why he did it, but he was telling his son, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And then you knew he was going to be bad. Even the lineage with Homelander was kind of predictable, but I was okay with it. What I like is that nobody's safe. Noir went down. You thought Maeve did. She didn't.
Yeah.
I think it's and then there was an emotional moment that fucked me up.
There were a few for me, but which ones for you?
Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember.
So for me, let me tell you, I got him. Noir did go down, and he kind of. It was that was an emotional beat for me, only because it's giving me the chills. It's like I always get in this conversation due to my love for Batman of who wins in a fight, Batman versus Superman. You know, and the answer is always Batman, but the answer is Batman because Superman is who he is. And I got to see what it would be like if Superman wasn't who he was and fought Batman. It would be over immediately.
Well, I think
no bars.
The only difference between that is that, you're thinking, when you think of that scenario, they're prepared. It's like, I'm prepared, because Batman's always prepared.
Yes.
I don't think Noir went there thinking they was going to kill
the boys and
Homelander's dad
and
Soldier Boy. I thought they think he was like, we're going to team up, we're going to fight Soldier Boy, and then it was backwards because Homelander knew that he didn't tell him about his dad.
Yeah.
So I think he was unprepared.
Well, that definitely played in, but it's like
Homelander would whoop him every time.
Yeah, because Homelander's not Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that fuck with me, but the big there was two moments that I was really proud of, and then one they walked back, which is I was a little bummed out about. But so one of the things for the whole season has been Huey has wanted to save Starlight.
Yep, I picked up on that.
And in his head, it's always been by physically saving her. But in this episode, he actually does get to save her. He just saves her by giving her the ability to make
he was supporting her.
Exactly. And he was able to accomplish that, and he accomplished it without the superpower. He accomplished it just him. And I was like, damn, man, good for little Huey.
Hey, shout out to Huey. And then
the other one was Maeve. Because Maeve, from season 1, they say you were, Starlight says you were my hero. You were my. She's like, I'm not a fucking hero. She downplays it immediately, and I feel even though she did some heroic shit, had she died in that explosion, that would have really given her the hero's exit of sacrificing herself for the greater good, and she would have come full circle into that role that Starlight kind of always hoped that she was. And outside of that, there's other stuff that played in with the father, grandfather, son dynamics of everything. And then the whole anytime that question gets raised up where it's Homelander's technically the biological father, but he's probably better off with the butcher, even though the butcher's not a great fucking dad either. It's there's a number of complicated things about that I found interesting. But I liked the episode overall. I thought it was well done.
The show, every episode to episode is good. They're great. Even let me use my words.
Gotta be careful with the great.
Yeah, I know, Jesus. And then, but the season as a whole, and a lot of times you don't get that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of shows I'll tell you about that I was watching that are just like that. Episode 1, you're hooked. Episode 2 and 3, you fall asleep.
Right.
But then the season's average on whole. But The Boys crushes it at character development. MM's story this season.
Yeah,
man, they dove in,
and that's cool that everybody has got their moment. Frenchie got his moment. Everybody got their their little moment. Yes. And what I'm curious to see in the next season is if they finish it, if it's 4 seasons and done, because it seems like it's a good time to start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
If
It was
they
like a
don't, though,
crescendo,
they're going to
but they-
build the 7 back up, and I don't know if I want to see all that again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. All good stories have a good ending.
Yeah.
You know.
But I feel like it's like, if it's just the deep Homelander and there's one left, right? There's one other one left.
A-Train.
A-Train. If it's just those 3 left that they got to deal with in one season, like I feel like that's
fair.
That's a good send-off.
Dude, I'm over the deep.
Yeah,
He's got to go.
Well, the guy's like a goof.
Yeah,
in the show.
straight up.
He is, yeah, for sure. But they're like meant to be, because they're like kind of half making fun of Aquaman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Poor Aquaman.
yeah, but Aquaman gets a bad rep,
Yeah.
man. Aquaman does not get a fair rep in the
One of the jokes
it's
every time.
It's the talking to the fucking fish thing, man. It always makes. But he's super fucking powerful, and he's a hardcore kind of character. Like in the books and shit, like he's much closer to Batman than he is to being a Jar Jar. You know what I mean? Like in the books, he's all about Atlantis. Okay. Like the sun rises and sets with Atlantis. Like in the same way that Batman's all about Gotham. And like his rule of Atlantis is like pretty stern and strict, and the rules that he follows that are self-motivated, all kind of the same way. And a lot of times, like they'll come to him, they'll be like, "Look, we need your help on this." They'll be like, "How does it affect the ocean?" They'll be like, "Well, it doesn't." They'll be like, "Well, then
Deuces.
Yeah.
best of luck."
Right.
You know?
Don't they say like he's like in the water still supposed to be as powerful as like Superman?
Yeah. I mean, he's no chump, you know. But it's just because he can talk to dolphins that makes it. People are just like, "Oh, I'm out. I'll check out right there."
Solved.
One last thing on the boys. There it is. Oh, Joe. I missed. You got to throw a hero-gasm party.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing. I'm a bit of an exhibitionist.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
So, like, I can see myself putting together something. I'd have to come up with certain confines for it, because I'm not sure how my friendships would go.
You know what's interesting? Like
5 minutes early.
5 minutes early.
There's certain times like you need a little extra motivation sometimes mentally when you pipe them down. You know, like sometimes I'm like, I'll picture like.
Where you pointing?
I probably shouldn't say this. No.
This might get a little weird.
No, I'm saying like I'm gonna just fucking say it. Like if I'm piping a girl down, I'll be like, oh, you know, your last dude wasn't fucking you like this, and I'll like pretend like he's over there, and I'll like look to the side like, yeah, I'm like some, you know what I'm saying, like a little motivation, like yeah, I'm pipe. This how you pipe her down
on the cuck, like a little cuck, a little beta cuck.
All right, that's too much, man. Sorry, but
I remember there was this whole era where people were calling me that on the internet, like when that word got popular, you know, and it was just like I was like,
fucking cuck.
I'd be like, dude, all I said is I don't like the toy. Why I gotta be all that? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've had a couple of little bumps, little puddles in my path here recently on the toy reviewing front, where I've gotten pissed with some shit. One of which being when I'm trying to be fair about some shit, and then I get wind and I get screenshots and.
You get called a cuck?
You know, no, not quite that far.
Not cool anymore.
But like, you know, it's like circumstances where like it's like I talk to you, right? And I'm like, hey, look, this is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about this. And you're like, yeah, okay. And then the next thing I know is like, Ghana said that, you know, I was just talking to him. Why didn't he say it? Why didn't he? You know, it's just so. It's been. I don't know. It's my veil of ignorance about all this shit has been well lifted for many, many years. But like, it's I worry this. I'm starting to get salty about it. Like I'm starting to get turned off to the public videos. So I'm just keeping all of that in mind as I go through.
It's an interesting parallel. Like I'm really good with where I'm at in life, but everybody else's bullshit is trying to peck at me.
Yeah.
And I'm really good about just having that bubble up, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can talk to me about it, but it ain't. But it's slowly fucking.
Yeah. It's like pushing on all. Like, I'm like, look, I'm trying to keep my composure.
Yeah.
Please. Like, I'm trying to play nice.
You put the content out there, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
you're asking for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That you open yourself up to it, right? Like you can't. I think my issue is more so like when people when my motivations get questioned. You know, where like I feel like it's like like I can't be the guy who is super picky about food and always complains about food. I can't be that guy and also be the guy that will come to your house and you serve me the food and you have to worry about whether or not I liked it. You know what I mean? Because if I'm the super picky, I'm not going to eat it. So you'll know because I just won't eat it.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't be both guys. I can only be the one guy. And I'm okay with whichever one you want me to be, but don't pick and choose when I'm this guy and when I'm that guy. When I'm the super picky eater versus when I'm the type that would just eat anything and lie about it. You know, because that's not true.
Right.
You know. Anyway, I don't need to take too much of a deep dive into that, but there's just some shit brewing out there.
Stop making fun of Bobby, guys.
On the horizon. I'll be honest with you. It's not even the making fun shit. I'm good with.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
It's the question my character shit.
Yeah,
that gets.
See that I'm opposite. You could talk your shit. Well, not opposite. I love the jokes too. I hope I get so famous one day that they roast me.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Yeah,
but like when you question my core, I'm good with who I am.
Right.
Like so, I know you, and especially across a keyboard. Like you're not bothering me, bro.
I don't know why it bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. But the jokes, my thing with the jokes is just my buddy just quotes this the best. The number one rule with a joke. Jesus, you
said it's not a...
Calm down.
I'm sorry.
It ain't going nowhere.
I just headbutt the mic.
If it's funny, it's funny.
Right.
That's rule number one. So like, if it gets me, if it's about me, but it's funny, that's what it is.
It's called comedy.
We got to laugh at it.
Yep.
And then regroup and move forward from there. And that could go a number of different ways, but I'm always going to acknowledge that was funny. So with that being said, who got their coffee first? Oh, because you were a little switch sider.
Yeah. I got the water first.
Casey got his coffee first, so I'll give it to Gomez. Gomez, he got his coffee first. How was your nerd quarter, or whenever last time you've been here? Anything going on? Anything you watched? Anything you got into recently that you?
I was telling you the other day. I finally saw Doctor Strange 2, and not a big fan.
It's awful.
I said I didn't see WandaVision, but Scarlet Witch is just a fucking bitch in that movie. Yeah. Just a total bitch, and I don't know. I didn't like that how they portrayed her in that.
My
movie.
buddy Robert said that she might be the most mishandled character in that universe. And I'm inclined to agree with him. Let me ask you a question. You just saw it.
Yeah.
Do you usually not see them until they come out on video or streaming or whatever? Or are you like a theater?
No, I usually like theaters. It just lately, I just haven't really been.
Just didn't happen.
Yeah,
You fucked me up.
How so?
Because of that stupid fucking conversation we had last time about Marvel, right? So I don't know if I started paying attention more, or maybe the timing just lined up. Like you were saying, like you were like, "Oh, Netflix is falling off," and now I can't find shit to watch on Netflix. You were like,
and they're firing fucking hundreds of people by the week.
I've always had the issue. I can never find anything to watch on Netflix.
And then you see, we had the debate about, is Marvel really that good? Marvel movies, anyway. And then. So to the point about, do you go see them normally when they come out? Like, yo, I was big. Like, I'd be like, oh, it's opening week because of the vibes too. But I haven't seen Strange yet, and I did not go see Thor.
I knew this girl in high school when I was in high school that now in my head I call her the Mouth of Madness. But as nice. But the Mind of Madness. So the reason why I bring it up is because Thor: Love and Thunder, right?
It's getting shit on.
It's getting shit on heavy. I'm seeing it next weekend. But this is the first Marvel movie that I haven't seen opening weekend. Yep. And for me, that's huge.
It's burnout, man. We're getting there. Like,
it's burnout, but it's also just lower quality. You're not getting, like, and I hear, like, I've heard a little bit of scuttlebutt about this movie already, but like they say again, like, he's a fucking idiot.
You turn him into this fucking...
And it's like every movie he starts off, it's this fucking idiot. And by the end of the movie, he kind of finds himself. And it's like, well, why do we have to continue to go through this?
We've done that.
He's not as interesting when he's a fucking idiot. It's lowest common denominator, like, approach to that franchise. And I'm not the biggest Marvel freak in the world, but I have a fair amount of Marvel books, and I've read, and that's not a flex, but I've read a fair amount of Marvel books, and I've never seen him portrayed
as a goof,
goof troop. But and I like Natalie Portman as well. And then here's another, and I don't want to deep dive, but Taka
Yeah. Waikiki does in the foot.
Excuse me, in the foothills.
Watiti.
Yeah.
Mr. Watiti is what I'll call him.
I love him.
So here's the thing. I like Jojo Rabbit, but I haven't liked any of the things that he's done for Marvel. But to hear him say on that fucking interview panel, yeah, I'm for my Star Wars movie, I really would like to do get Natalie Portman in a role. Dude, if you don't know that Natalie Portman is the mother of Luke and Leia, kindly pack your shit. Take your fucking contract, rip it into pieces.
It was an open casket.
Turn it, like, get the fuck out of the way. Yeah. But it's like that's like part of my issue is like there's people. I think there's a number of people in a number of positions that don't really have any investment in it anymore, and I think a lot of people have seen it as a resume builder or a cash op.
Yeah, get that check.
Yeah, you know, and especially with their success. But I do think with how public the criticism has been regarding this Thor movie, that people are starting to push the Marvel pills away. Yeah. The pills that they've been
swallow what you're throwing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That New Zealand sense of humor, like, I'm a sucker for it.
So I like Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
You know, and I like Jojo Rabbit.
Wait, you liked Flight of the Conchords?
Yeah.
It was all right.
See, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's New Zealand. Oh, what about Summer Heights High? That's New Zealand.
See it.
Oh my God, dude.
Okay.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
I just love it. You know the Baby on HBO, Showtime.
I don't know if I've seen it.
It's a series called The Baby. Episode 1, it's got the same shit. It's like just that sense of humor that's like, where'd this fucking baby come from? I can't do the accent. That was terrible. I apologize.
There was that Summer Heights High shit was like, it's one guy. It's kind of like a mockumentary style. It's one guy. He plays 3 different roles.
Okay.
And one of them is this kid that's like bad in school. You ever had that kid? Like, look, I was bad in school, but I was never like these kids. Like these kids that you just couldn't tell them shit. Like the kids would be like, take your hat off. I'd be like, you take your hat off. But I'm not wearing a hat. I'm like, I'm not wearing a hat. You know, like just crazy shit. So he's playing one of those characters, and he's like fucking around. He's taking his hat off. He's putting it on people's heads, and like, you know, people are trying to do their work, and he's just like playing with their hair and everything. His name is Jonah. So like, the teacher comes over and like snatches the hat, and he's like, "What is you doing? That's my hat, miss." And they're like, "You'll get it back at the end of the day. You can't keep it, miss."
Right?
You know. And then then like he's sitting over there, and he's just like, like for no reason.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Jonah." He's like, "What?" "I'm just allergic to some shit back here, miss." And then he's like, Oh, Miss farted. You farted, Miss.
Is he Asian?
No, he's New Zealand. And she's like, Jonah, be quiet. Like this and that. And then he's like, sneezes again. He's like, Jonah. He's like, I'm allergic to your farts, maybe, Miss. Dude, it's just like, he's just like a train wreck. Yeah. And I knew kids like that in school. And it's great. That, and then he plays like a female character that is like a transplant from like a boarding school to a public school, like just to see how the other way live. And her name is Jamae. It's like JA''MIE. It's just obnoxious enough as it is. But like, you know, and she's like, I can't believe how, you know, all that kind of like vibe.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't recommend it enough. It's great. But yeah, I love Flight of the Conchords. I love Jojo Rabbit. I just don't think that he necessarily can take anything serious enough where I want things to be in my comic book stuff. And I know that sounds silly to say, but that's what all this shit is missing for me. That's what The Boys is giving me, so to speak.
Did you have any of the spoilers for Thor? I'll just ask you, did they introduce Beta Ray Bill in this?
I don't know. All I heard
that can't be funny to me.
Right, I agree. You
know what I mean? Like if they make is number 4, if they make another one?
This is 4.
So if they make a 5th fucking Thor, I feel like you gotta get past that bullshit, and it's gotta be. I want to be in there like gripped, like nothing's hilarious. Yeah. Like I don't even want to giggle.
Like it's like when Thor, and I get confused because of the book. There was like clones and shit. Yeah. Like in Civil War, when Thor comes down in the midst of the fight of Civil War, it's like it's terrifying. You know, because it's like these guys have like relatively superpowers and everything, and then all of a sudden this god like enters the chat. Yeah.
They know what they need to do. They showed it there. You know what.
And I'm talking about that in the comic. In the comic, when he like comes down,
they did a good job in the movie.
They did a good job in the movie too, but I don't even know if he's really in the movie.
We did have that one epic entrance too during
during Infinity War.
Yeah, when it comes down with Groot.
That's what I was talking about. That's the scene I was talking about.
So that's very similar to how it is in and so where it's just like everybody stops for a moment, like praying that this guy's on their side, you know? And like I don't feel intimidated by Thor, with the exception of that Infinity War moment at any, and I think they did a good job with him in Dark World, but people fucking hate Dark World. People hate it.
I wasn't a fan of that one.
Yeah, I love that one. It's one of my favorites. But it's not as, it gets a little goofy at the end with the warping when it's like,
oh yeah,
they like end up on the subway. It's like the A train, am I right? Like shit like that. Like but the rest of it I liked. So anyway, what else? God, man, I cut you off. But yeah, Mouth of Madness is trash.
Catching up on Stranger Things. I'm on the last episode. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Loved it.
I watched the first season. I tapped out.
I feel like you can get back into it. And then last season was a little iffy,
last season was a little iff, but still
this
good.
season was really good.
Yeah, this season so far is pretty good.
It's good for the family. It's not something like Bobby would sit down and watch, but the family could watch.
I feel like I hate being me sometimes, but I feel like the shit that people give franchises a hard time for, where it's like it's relying too much on nostalgia and too much on heartstrings and sentiment. Like I felt that way more so with Stranger Things than I did necessarily about episode 7. And I think episode 7 is episode 4 with a new jacket on. But I felt like it was like, it was like, oh man, like the member berries. Right? Like, oh, look, it's the Millennium Falcon. Remember? It's Monopoly. Remember? Like, it's like, hungry hippos. Oh, my God.
Or the
I played that game, therefore the show is good.
I didn't get that vibe.
I can't really speak on that.
Maybe season 1.
Yeah, you didn't listen.
Yeah, so like, I can see it, and like, you guys could probably point out, oh, I remember that, this, and I would just be like, oh, okay.
Well, that's what I was saying about We Own the City with the whole heavy Baltimore shit. I was like, God damn, you're shoving it. Pause.
But like, but like even that, like it was. I think it's because I'm not inundated day in and day out with it. Where I was like, oh yeah, I'm all right. With it.
See,
they backed off it too.
And so does Stranger Things after season 1.
Because all I'm hearing about from this season, all I'm hearing about is Kate Bush, and Metallica.
Those are the fucking people that they just. That's different. It doesn't make it less enjoyable for you during the show.
And I don't like the monsters. In the first season.
That's fine. That's why I said it's family shit. It's not like
I get. I want a cool monster again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd say the monster from this season is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty legit. Like,
does it wear a fucking hat like Freddy Krueger? Because that was a goddamn cool monster. You know what I mean? Just broke out that like. Why wear the hat? His head hurts. All that fucking like tissue, and you know what I mean.
Freddy had swag, bro.
He did. But I tell you, we could deal with a little bit more swag these days in general. It's just like, let's just make them these abstract shapes of fangs and claws and spiky bits and throw it at kids. It's like, I like a cool voice.
Didn't Jeepers Creepers wear a hat?
Yeah, and with the jacket. Yeah, the trench coat, yep.
Yeah, trench coats are always cool. When is not a trench?
I don't know.
I don't even fuck with the Matrix.
When they murdered everybody, was it the trench coat mafia?
I guess that
when were they not cool?
All right, fair enough. But I mean,
if I see a motherfucker wearing a trench coat in the theaters now,
so look, all right, so that was a terrible thoughts and prayers and to all the families involved.
Yeah.
But if it was Black Sweater Mafia, is that as cool?
It's not as cool. Did you ask that right?
Does it sound as cool?
Oh yeah, Black Sweater Mafia sounds
not
way
as cool.
Less cool than
Black trench coat mafia. Like there's something about a trench coat that even in the I don't want to talk about that.
I got you.
Slippery slope there.
You want to be a part of the Newsies, or you want to be a part of the trench coat mafia?
The trench coat mafia.
Yeah, definitely. That's way more intimidating. Intimidating.
Gambit. Billy the Butcher, often in a trench coat.
Neo.
What is that cube on top of?
It's a mother box.
Oh, okay. It fucked me up.
Yeah. It's a 1/6 scale mother box. No big deal. Anyway, Stranger Things. So liking it?
Liking it so far. I got one more episode. Actually, I'm like 15 minutes in, so I just gotta finish that, and that'll wrap it up for season 5 or whenever that's gonna come out.
Where'd you say you were at on it?
On the last episode.
It's heads up, 2.5 hours long.
Jesus fucking.
Yeah, I started it and I was like, this episode is long as shit. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
And when I started the first episode, I'm like, shouldn't the show be done already? Like the episode?
Why not just make it 2 episodes?
Yeah,
You know, it's like a TV
because
format.
then someone
It's
like you would say, you could have shrunk this down into one episode.
Well, it doesn't matter if the time remains the same.
Yeah. No, I agree. And in the middle, there's like the perfect opportunity. I thought it was the end of the episode. And then it continued. I was like, what the fuck? And I paused it literally halfway through. I'm like, they could have broke this up. But I don't know. I'm sure it's contractual or some shit.
Yeah, probably. Anything else?
No, just been chilling, working.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. Oh, you've been trying to find love.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been interesting. So I've been enjoying.
Wait, is that real? You've been looking for love?
No.
Okay, all right.
We're just back out in the streets,
and all the bloody wrong places. You know what I mean? But I've been looking at these dating apps, and it has been eye opening for me.
Yeah, they suck, man.
They're terrible.
It's for one, it's how it's fast. It's like a character study. It's fascinating. It's like, for one, how women think to sell themselves is funny to me. The same way that men, like, I love when like a man tries to look sexy, it just looks so fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, no woman would ever look at that and be like, oh, hot. They look at it and be like, you look ridiculous.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, one of your callers wrote in and said something about King George's Fair. Right? And you were like, what is that? Or festival? I've been watching Love on the Spectrum.
I've heard about that.
Dude,
What is it?
I feel like an asshole, first of all. But they made this fucking show for a reason. All right. It is people looking for love that are autistic.
So they can draw. Oh, you said autistic.
Yeah, you did that on purpose. You did that on purpose.
my God.
You did that on purpose. It's just as fucking sleazy as it sounds. But
Really?
Yeah, and they do a good job of trying to, you appreciate the characters, you want them to succeed, you're rooting for
So
them.
it's fictional.
No, it's 100%.
Oh, okay,
I
so
said
they're not
characters. All right, yeah.
That's a bold move.
listen,
You got people out there counting toothpicks.
Dude, every single one of them is amazing in their own way. One of them's on a dating app, and they have their ticks. You know what I mean? And she's swiping, and she's swiping, oh, dead bird, dead dog, da, 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 because the guys love posting hunting and fishing pictures. Oh, so that's why I wanted to interject, because
exactly.
King Henry's festival or whatever is this. One of these guys is obsessed with it. It's basically a Renaissance festival.
Yeah. Okay.
And he wears the sword, and he goes on his first date, and it's all he talks about. And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Like most women that I know and have known through life would be more interested in a picture of your face popping out of a door like this, and it had a clown nose on it.
Then
because they look at him and laugh, and if you said underneath like, "I'm a silly guy," and they're like, I'm buying it.
Who told you this?
I'm telling most women that
sold.
Most women that I know or have known are looking for men that are goofy and make them laugh and like keep their life light.
I agree with that more than anything.
I think I kind of feel like nowadays it's just like a given, just because you see it on every profile too. Like every girl's like, I want.
But yet, when I look at
they want to travel and they want to laugh.
But when I have looked at these things and like,
like Mexican, I want margaritas, feed me tacos, like all of them.
Yeah.
Right. But when I'm reducing it to the absurd with the fucking clown.
Okay. You lost me on that.
I'm saying like a picture that's like goofy and funny, rather than a picture of like you with your shirt off, like with your head leaned up on it, like on your hand. Like,
it's 50-50, man. There's fucking people that post CrossFit photos, and it's girls and it's guys, and I'm like, these fucking people gross me the fuck out. I don't want to see. If you have a nice body, it's gonna show. Right. I don't need to see you in the gym. I don't need to know your workout habits. I don't need to know any of that. People,
well, you know what? Don't show me the workout habits and just make me feel like, man, how does she do it? Keep me on the edge of my seat. Don't show me that. Don't show me how the sausage is made. You know what I mean? But like, and don't go overboard with that shit either. Because I don't want to break the table in half if you fucking buy stuff.
Exactly.
But anyway, but what I've found interesting is that like, for one, what you as a young lad is looking for and seeing versus what I'm seeing at my age. And I'm like, man, like he doesn't realize that this is what you should be looking for, because you like what you need, like it only feels but so bad. So what you need is somebody that can hold you down.
He knows that he's not ready for that.
Right.
I think if you're on,
but I don't even think his brain sees the. You know what I mean? It's like he's
so trained to hit it and quit it.
He's looking at like he's trying to buy a watermelon, right?
Yeah.
and he's just, oh, this is a big ass watermelon. I'm gonna get this one.
That watermelon's thick.
But he's not looking at the color of the green of the watermelon that shows you what the quality of that watermelon is actually gonna be like.
Right.
You know.
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily just trying to like hit it and quit it necessarily. I mean, I do, and kind of looking for like the long term, but I'm not rushing to be getting that right away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I know.
So like right now I'm just kind of open to dating, meeting new people, and if
Meeting new people.
Yeah, you know.
I love that.
It's real.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the thing with the dating apps
meeting
is
new
like,
people. Like I know what that means. You're like, oh, so all these new, so you met a new person recently. She's just gonna keep inviting her to your birthday party. You don't want to meet new people. Get the fuck out of here.
But I'm saying, like, if it clicks, it clicks. You know, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
And now you got somebody in your Holodex, you know what I mean? That like, you ever want to pull her up and just hang out, you can. That's literally the definition of
But the thing is, like, the thing with the apps is like, half the battle is just getting the match.
Right.
I know, man.
And then like the other half, it's like,
especially for a dude, I'd imagine.
if you guys even
Because you're
talk.
probably a bit more liberal, I'd imagine, on your swipes, whereas a lady's probably a little bit more conservative, I would imagine.
I don't know what the men's side of the apps look like, so I have no idea how they're swiping. They might be desperate. They might
Maybe. I'm just going off like, I've sat there with Gonzo also, who we all know.
It's wild as shit.
And Gonzo,
He's down bad.
he is super liberal with his swipes.
Really?
And yeah, and I'm talking about like, I mean, you gotta be down and out for him to swipe left on you.
That's,
you know, like you gotta be down and out.
yeah.
Like he's like, oh, she's only got one eye, but she's got two pretty ears.
Yeah.
Swipe right. You know, but like,
What's he looking for? Just fucking.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
different.
but I'm saying he's up for any. I mean,
Yeah.
up for it. But like every now and then he'll meet a creature. He'll come across a creature that even is too much for him, and he swipes left on it. And he's like, you missed a match. Like,
I love that. I love that. And it fucks his ego up so bad, I'm sure.
And so it's like I would
funny.
imagine that, because I would imagine that most women know that men are going to err on the side of I'll give it a shot. So they have it's just like in real life without the app, they have the privilege of being more selective.
Agreed.
So if I was to wager a bet, I would wager that they're probably being more conservative in there. You know,
Yeah, 'cause like I said, half of the battle is just getting the match. The other half, it's like, I didn't even talk to you.
Dude, it's
Or
how do you
even
initiate
meet
that?
up. You know what I mean?
right.
How do you initiate like a good, like, okay, so you it's a match. All right. Hi. Like, what is your first message?
And then that's
if
what
you
they
go
don't
with some
like, you know
dumb
what I mean?
shit like,
Yeah.
I don't know, some corny fucking line, you know.
But sometimes that's the shit. Like,
see-
because I saw Gonzo hit this girl up. And it was like,
what spreads better than butter?
No.
You want to meet for dinner today?
I can see him doing that too, though, to be
Yeah.
fair. But he said something like, I was wondering if you could give me something for free. And you know, like, and it's not like he just hit her with that. It was like in the midst of a conversation, and then she was like, well, "What can I do for you?" Like, because like she asked for a bunch of questions or whatever, and he was like, "Well, I was asking him actually if you could give me something, and it's totally free." And she's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Your number." And she's like, "Stupidest line ever," and then
Here it
sent
is.
the number
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and
Like,
But see, that's hit or miss though, because
I know.
right.
you might think that the girl she likes and you do it, and then
Which is why
done.
ultimately meeting people in person, nothing's better than that. I hate the fucking app.
Yeah, the app's trash.
Because you can really feel my personality. You know I'm trying to be corny,
But I
whereas
didn't-
it only
right.
came through
and
as
the only
corny.
reason why
Right.
I got the apps was because COVID hit.
Right.
Before COVID,
Oh, true.
I
Okay.
never had the apps. Like I would meet people out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this shit sucks, man.
It's terrible. The profiles are so fucking bad that whenever if it's the weekend, I got people over at the house and we're drinking, I cast my phone to the TV and we'll get to swiping and reading profiles. And it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever done.
Dude, nowadays, like all the girls, like their profile basically says the same thing. I see this all the time now. It's like, I'm looking for someone to be like, reservation at 7, I'll pick you up at 6, or I got this, I'll hold the door for you. Like just like quotes, it's like they all say that's like
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
If you voted for Trump, swipe left. Don't even
Yeah.
think about it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you hold the door open for women differently than you do for men?
Yeah.
Me too. Do you?
Well, I don't know.
Equal
He
opportunity.
don't hold doors, bruh.
It's a whole new era, man. A whole new era of equality.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm just opening the door. I don't really
Me
think
too.
about it.
With
But
a
me-
man, you do just enough. You just like you're in the door already, and you're just holding it like.
Yeah, I
and
got
then
you.
and then as soon as he gets close enough, you let it go, and it almost hits him in the face, but you helped.
Yeah.
Like with a girl, you stand outside.
I'll stand outside.
You let her walk past. You
Correct.
take a peek at that ass.
Maybe, but I'll even do it. I mean, if it calls for if it calls for that.
Yeah.
But even if it's a unit that doesn't call for that.
No, I agree.
Just as like a gentleman, I'll do it. And I'm gonna wait a little bit longer for you.
Yep, you might be on the other side of the parking lot. I know you're coming the same way. I got you.
I got you. I'll wait. But if it's a dude, I'll be like, you know the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of do it both ways. I just like
Dude,
that depends. Like if I'm coming, grab the door handle, and he's coming. I just hold it and I'll wait outside. And
Dude,
I go.
equality, man.
You open your car doors for the girls?
Nah,
I don't do that either.
Listen,
I don't do that either.
I don't do that.
It speaks volumes, and I think you should start doing it for your daughters too. Because
No, hell no. Look, the last thing that they fucking need is anybody doing anything else for them.
well, I wouldn't inconvenience yourself to open doors for your daughters, but like I'm telling you, man, my niece came to me the other day, different niece. And
I was gonna say, I was looking like that.
Look how
You
she
probably,
took
you probably handed her the chain.
different niece opened the door for her, and she got in, and she said something along the lines of like, my boyfriend now opened the door for me like on the first couple of dates, and then he stopped, and it made her wonder what's changed, what's different. Like she doesn't feel like anybody needs to open the door for her, but when somebody does, it makes them feel like they're thinking about her at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Like, and it's not, and it's only because like now it would be weird. Like if like,
you do other things,
my
right?
wife, I believe in being chivalrous
Right.
and being a gentleman
Right.
and playing.
Everybody has their own way
and playing a role.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in that. Like I laugh sometimes, like. Like just like if something goes bump in the night, like I'm on it. Don't worry about it. Like you know what I mean. Like I'm not gonna be like look, equals equal.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah, hold the door.
But like
It also lets other people see it. Sorry
but
about
now,
that.
all right. So let me ask you this. Now let's say this. It's gonna get touch and go. Okay, this is not an easy question. I understand.
That's what I'm here for.
So you open the door.
Car door.
No, to a
door.
building door.
Uh-huh.
You open the door. You give the look back to see if you need to open it for anyone. You see there's a woman that's heading that way. You take the position of holding the door just out of habit because you saw somebody
For a woman.
For a woman, you took the position. But as you look at her a little closer,
Oh no.
she looks like she's not the type that wants a dude to do anything to treat her any different.
Okay, not sure what that looks like.
Let's say she looks like a very masculine man.
Okay,
Or a very masculine woman.
Okay.
Do you still?
No, it doesn't change, man. I
hold it out.
Yeah, I'm. The three of us here at the table all have the same type of personality, in that it's community, it's people. Until it's not. But
Right.
yeah, but I hold doors for anybody. Old,
So
young.
I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah, it don't matter.
I'm gonna do it too, but it's not. Listen,
Now, when you walk by and you don't say thank you or hold the next fucking door,
no. See, because I overthink it. So in my head, I start thinking, man,
There's your answer right
she
there.
might be upset that I'm
Don't give a
going
fuck.
out of my way.
I don't give a fuck.
Now I've offended her by opening the door because you know what I mean. Like,
See, I say
I can get the door myself.
Yeah,
Like,
I
all
see
right,
that completely
easy,
different
does
way.
it?
It's just
this is a
being
non-issue.
I just think it's just being nice.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
And if you got a problem with it, that's cool. It's not fucking again.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, you guys are very well adjusted.
yeah, you let people get in your head.
Oh, it's not. It's me.
Yeah,
It's
well,
all me.
you're right.
It's all me.
Yeah, he's psyching himself out
Yeah,
about it.
I go to the ends of the earth in my head, thinking like, it's like I'm always looking at the third move.
Yeah.
In chess,
Yeah.
and it's not often. It's not to my benefit.
I don't give a fuck if you're upset that I'm opening the door for you.
Oh, see, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not out here trying to.
I mean,
offend
nobody
anybody.
wants to, but I mean, if you get offended because he's the dude opened the door for you,
Jump
like,
off a
Hey,
bridge.
sometimes
Find
I don't
a
know.
bridge.
I think that's more of a
There's
them
very-
problem than it is.
Exactly.
Oh,
Then it should
that
be.
doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean anything.
Then it
Very
should
delicate
be.
rules out there.
I mean, yes, the word has changed a lot.
It's very it's
Different world.
It's constantly shifting. Constantly. Only thing constant is change, they say. But yeah, I have been enjoying going over the dating apps. I've quite enjoyed
those are
it,
fun.
and watching people try to sell themselves. It's such a delight for me.
Yep.
Such a delight.
Even on the app, I keep it old school, bro. I mean, I'm not doing it anymore. But like when I was on, it'd be like, hey, found you attractive. I'm free this weekend. dinner on me. I can pick you up, or we can meet there, whatever's convenient for you. Because I know it's weird. Like if a dude shows up to your house that you just met, like you just try to keep it as comfortable as you can.
Let me ask you this: how long, like from the moment you match with this person, how long do you take to invite them out?
I think if there's information in their profile, like if it's just pictures, then I'll say, hey, and I'll try to establish a chat where we go back and forth. I'm like, I can just gauge if she's not a psychopath, which most of them are. But then if it's somebody that has information that we share, like, profile or interest or whatever, then I'll be like, this girl's cool and she's attractive. And I'm message number one. I don't have time to go back and forth because like I said, my personality is not going to convey that well over messages. So I'm immediately like, yo, the dinner at, Ozio's on Friday at 9, you free? Boom, on me. And if you need a ride, I got you too. But I'm not playing the back and forth pitter patter on the app. I don't have time.
Gotcha.
It doesn't convey.
I got another question now that I'm thinking about that. So like, are there any, when you said, look, we have common interest, right? Are there
things that, or things that she's interested in that I'm like, oh, that looks good on you. Not me.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm. Are there any things that you're interested in that you're like, that would be a turn off if you were looking for, and they were interested in that?
So things that I'm into that a girl might not be into.
Yeah, like
that I probably wouldn't post for that reason. You're saying?
No, maybe just out of curiosity, where you're like, oh, she's a huge baseball fan. Like, I can't handle that. Because you're a huge baseball fan.
Yeah,
right. Is there anything like that? Are you not? I feel like you posted.
No, I am. Okay. You're saying if she posted, I'm a huge baseball fan, I'd be like, oh God, she likes baseball.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. With my ex, I play slow pitch softball and enjoy it, did it like 3 out of the 7 days of the week. Like I was playing all the time, and she was like dainty, wore heels. One day we were short people, and she was like, well, I can stand in the outfield, and she did. Like we just had her stand out there, and ever since then it became her thing, and I hated it. I hated playing co-ed with her. I hated running the team with her. I hated when like it wasn't mine anymore. So I don't know if that's more so because it wasn't mine, or if it was because she was interested in it. I thought I liked that. I was like, oh, she's enjoying it. She's learning the rules. This is cool. Common interest.
Right.
Or do you feel like that's like your time? Like that was...
Now I've learned from that relationship that you need, or I need, I don't want to say what anybody else needs, but I need my things to be mine. And then you should have some things that are yours. Guys should be able to have guy nights. Yeah. Girls should be able to have girl nights. And
we're not doing that.
You don't want to lose your... Because if you start... I think if you start doing everything together and have the same interests and become the same person, you've lost yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what scares
me. Like if I was on one of them apps and it was like, oh, I'm really into collecting toys, I swiped that shit left so hard, it should end up on your phone.
That's so... That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Like
I couldn't handle it, man. Like I couldn't, like, I'm not, like the amount of shit that I got to deal with regarding it, and then like to sit in bed with you and then have to debate with you as to whether or not this figure is good.
That's like almost a workload at that point.
Like I would be fucking that and mopping. Like I couldn't handle it. Me.
Oh no, fuck no. That's a different. I couldn't have a mopper. That's a whole nother podcast.
My janitorial process is mine and mine alone. No
way. And she tried that shit too, and I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah, that's a no bueno.
That's the one thing I shot down.
No bueno.
Fuck no.
Yeah. So that's interesting. All right, how's your nerd week quarter been?
Yeah, so I got a lot. But I'm not gonna.
Been a busy bee.
No, I could not wait. I was like, when's it gonna fucking come on, man? Call me. Blackbird on Apple.
I like the sound of it already.
I saw the commercial of it, actually.
What is it?
The kid from... Who's the key grip?
Who's the key grip?
The gentleman, but they're spies. Kingsman, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
The younger guy, the main character. He is, and I can just tell you this part. He gets arrested for selling drugs. He goes to jail. The plot is he's such a charming person to everybody he talks to, even in prison. Like he goes to prison, he's comfortable. He's so charming that the FBI wants him to transfer prisons and get a confession out of a serial killer to find out where the 14 girls were buried.
Okay.
Episode 1's a pilot. So there's a lot of character introduction, and it's good. But I was like, come on, let's get to it.
Rough around the edges.
Yes, yeah. Could have been polished a little bit on the character development, but when they get to the serial killer, I'm glued.
Really?
Glued. You forget that this dude is an actor. Like, he's got the look, he's got the mentality, the way his eyes shoot across the room when he's talking to somebody, and then the topic changes and he locks in on the person, like glued. And that was at the very end of the pilot episode. Episode 2 really starts to get into it.
And that's on Apple TV.
It's on Apple TV. The 3rd episode comes out Friday, and then I think it's going to drop every Friday. Highly recommend. Really enjoying it. The like I said, the serial killer is like my new favorite actor. Depending on what he does.
Just sent the notice.
My man. Umbrella Academy. You guys last week said nobody's watching it. Are you liking that?
I haven't. No, so I haven't started the third season. I've seen the first 2.
How'd you like the first 2?
I liked it. I especially liked the last season.
Yes.
That, to me, so the better out of the 2. Like I said, I haven't seen the 3rd one yet.
So I'm with you both. In Bobby's way, you got to force me to sit down and watch it. I thought I could put it. It's just between. I can sweep the room, I can clean, I can vacuum and watch it, and it's just between. You got to sit down and watch it. It's somewhere between those. Season 2 was really good. Season 3, this is one that's out now, is losing me.
How far in are you in?
3 episodes, and it's losing me, and I know exactly why. I love Krause. And now Krause is a bisexual fucking, I mean, whatever kind of sexual characterization there is, he's that. You don't know if he's gay, you don't know if he's bi, you don't know if he's whatever.
Right.
Like he's
ambiguous.
he could bang a table, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think he's my favorite character.
Yeah, I think so I think him and then
the kid
that can teleport,
yes,
the best characters.
Agreed.
In the whole show.
Agreed. So I'm glad you said that. I feel the exact same way. And those are 2 characters that are not normal people. I have a point. Elliot Page.
Refresh me.
Ellen
Page.
Okay.
Ellen Page is now Elliot Page, and she's on the show. And when the first 2 seasons, she was Ellen Page. Then she became Elliot Page in real life, and now on the show they made her a boy as well.
Oh, really?
Her name went from Vanya to Vince. Victor. I don't give
something like that's what I've heard.
Is the whole point, and they shoved it down your throat, despite Krause being this completely whatever character.
I see where we're headed.
Then
now.
they shoved it down your fucking throat, and they have there's a scene where they're like, I'm cool with it. Like, shut the fuck up. And I'm not watching the rest of the season because of it.
It is. I hear you. Because it is, to a certain degree, some of this stuff is obnoxious, right? For years and years and years before when kind of homosexuality kind of became, I think vogue is the wrong word to use.
Yeah.
But widely mainstream accepted, right?
Yeah, it wasn't backdoor bullshit.
There was plenty of closet gay actors that played heterosexual roles, right?
Yep.
And that's fine. It's still fine.
It's called acting.
It's called acting. And it's the same thing vice versa. That if a straight man can play this gay role perfectly or whatever, or well enough in an audition where he's the best person for the job, then he should get hired for that job. And I think the same thing about like trans. And I think like if you are a trans person and you can pull off the female or you could pull off the male role and you audition for it and you're the best for it,
you earned your opportunity.
Then you should get hired for it. No questions asked. But I get annoyed when they're like, well, a gay person obviously shouldn't play a straight, or it's usually the other way around. But you know what I mean? Like they'll say those sorts of things.
Yeah,
you
like, couldn't hire a gay person to play the gay role.
Why? Like I know we have these like strong lines, but I'm like, sometimes I get like, I'm like frustrated because I don't see where it ends. Right. Like Crazy Rich Asians. I believe they were all Chinese. Don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% sure. I have Chinese bias because one of my best friends is Chinese. But there was outrage. Some of my best friends are Chinese.
But that's outrage was the main actor, right? Because he wasn't like fully. I think he was like half.
Exactly. And it's like, so where do we draw the line?
Well, but I don't have a problem with Crazy Rich Asians if you're like, you know what, hey, this movie, we're just going to do all Asians. See how, like, just be like, hey, we did it.
But like, which is fine.
Yeah.
But is it okay for a Japanese person to act as if they are a Chinese person?
Or vice versa?
Have to ask
is it
Joe.
okay? But that's my point. So how do we feel about Scarface? Do we love Scarface?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
It's
Italian.
He's an Italian playing a Cuban. Is that okay?
Again, I'm of the belief that when you started this conversation, everybody, the problem is the people that cry and say, well, I didn't get the opportunity, and you're taking the opportunities to play a gay person from gay people if a straight person plays it.
Well, that's fair.
But you have to, people forget you got to earn your opportunities.
Yeah.
And if Hollywood is shutting the door in your face,
that's not okay.
But that's not what's happening,
right.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
So when you force Vanya to become Vincent or whatever the fuck her name is now, you shut the door. Well, I guess, damn, now I'm saying it backwards.
Well, I mean, no, you're forcing the writer's hand.
Yes, exactly. Because like I said, it's not about supporting people. It's not about giving an opportunity to a gay writer or a gay actor or actress or whatever. It's just about Elliot Page came in the door and said, I'm Elliot now. You guys need to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking, it drives me nuts, man. And I literally, the show's already fucking, this season especially is super fucking cheesy. Super fucking cheesy. And I can't finish it, and I'm not going to put my energy into finishing it.
A lot of those conversations specifically today, and to be honest with race as well, is I don't think that people afford people enough grace.
You don't think people afford people enough grace in today's day and age?
Yes. Let me paint a picture. Whatever way the trend falls. So it's very, when I say trend, I mean literal, like this hashtag is trending. Mm-hmm. So when who was it recently? Macy Gray just recently said something in an interview that like, look, like, this is not to hate on anybody else, but when it comes to this specific thing, a woman is a woman with a vagina, like whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Now you can disagree with that, right? But the truth is that there has to be some sort of nuance to it all, because it's just not, right? Like, you can say 1,000 different things and all those things can be valid, but it doesn't change certain biological things, right? And I think people came out and tried to kill her, you know, like forks and torches and, you know, and all that. And I don't know if I even necessarily, I'd have to read her quote and see what the context was. I don't know if I agree with her or disagree with her, but I do disagree with the people killing her, because you have to afford people grace in those conversations. And if there's room for discussion and there's room for turning that soil and getting to the kind of philosophical ideas of some of this shit, then you have to afford people that. You can't just go for their throat every time.
Yeah, go for the kill right from the jump.
And everything is like left or right or black and white like nowadays, and people, it's just so,
and it's
fucking,
not, and life isn't.
Yeah, life is just a full bucket of gray.
When a man cuts his penis off, and now because you physically look like what your brain feels like you look like, you're okay with the world. And that should be enough. But now you're expecting the world around you to change as well. And I think that's where my problem lies, is that you're saying now you have to, and it's not even him, her now. It's like they, them.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
and I mean, trust me, as a guy with a teenage daughter, I get updates every day as to the latest and greatest.
Right. And like, they're adding letters to the flag and colors to the flags. Yeah. Which also is an interesting topic. It's everybody but white people on that flag now, right? Like, it's... I'm
not allowed to say that.
Well, I'll say it. Like, you know, it's just interesting. It's brown, black, lesbian, gay, trans. Yeah. It's everything but white people.
I've heard people that are gay are upset that they're like the pride flag has colors being added onto, because they feel like that's they work for that.
So I won't put this gentleman's name out there out of respect. But I know a person in my life that is old, like an older generation and gay.
Yeah,
right.
When it was hard.
Well, not harder. Yeah, and so to speak. and he feels pretty firmly, so to speak, about all that. About the trans folks using the flag and all that. He feels pretty firmly like, look, like, I marched for this flag. We fought, we bled for this flag. Like, he feels that way.
Which ultimately was just based on sexual preference.
Correct. And I'm not here to decide which is just and which isn't. But I do at least recognize that, like, look how far the tribes can go. You know, where it's not just enough for this. Yeah. It's not just enough that we didn't, like, for him in particular, right? Like, we weren't part of this conformed system and we were treated differently, so we fought for equality. And then other people that are kind of like, they're not in the same bag, but that bag is adjacent. Is like, yeah, well, we want to continue that fight. And it's like, well, no, this is my fight. You know, you get your own. You know, and it's like we were just so quick to separate and keep delineating. Like, I think that, like, you know, there's this conversation, this topic can go super deep.
I know, I feel bad,
so to speak. But like,
got it off the rails.
You know, there's a whole argument out there about, you know, about. I don't want to say that people do it for this reason, because I don't think that that's entirely true. But that our culture in the last 10 years has started swaying to a point where to be a victim is to find pride and strength. And that may have come from very real places. But now people will go out of their way to become a victim so that they can have that same strength.
I agree.
And before this, I've talked about this on here before, but before this, I saw this like change medically, where I feel like I went through this phase like in the early 2000s, where all of a sudden people who I've known forever just started having medical conditions out the blue. You know what I mean? They were borderline diabetic. They were ADHD. And I'm like, man, everybody's got a diagnosis, you know, but there was like strength in this weakness, you know, this genetic weakness. And now is like this strength in
like gluten-free shit.
Yeah, well, look, but there's like this strength in like being oppressed. And if you're not a person that's oppressed, then you are not afforded the same strength socially and pride.
Well, that's literally the like politicians instill fear in you to act like, oh, you're about to get taken over. You're going to be oppressed. And then
I mean, even people
you
like,
become a fighter.
If we want to talk about like the why is there no white people on the flag or whatever, like if we look at like even let's take a stereotype, right? And we'll take the right wing, you know, yellow flag hanging off the truck with a coiled snake and don't tread on me. Right? The reason why it's saying don't tread on me is because it doesn't want to feel oppressed.
Right.
So it's the same mentality of like I'm gonna have to fight. I gotta fight back now because they're trying to take what's ours. You know, and it's like everybody like, and I'm just like, man, I personally, I usually just, maybe I'm blind to it, but I just don't really see it a whole lot. Most people that I know, I'm like of all walks of life, get by pretty well. And when I'm at the grocery store, I've never seen anybody like say, hey, could you pass me something? And somebody go to pass it and look around and take over. Oh, I didn't know you were pansexual. This bag of grapes going right back on the shelf. Get it yourself.
Right. Loser.
I don't see it.
Well, most of the time, all that negativity happens, you know, behind closed doors on the other side of the keyboard. It's really where it should lie. But, you know, I can't say what it feels like to be pansexual, but I'm sure it ain't easy. And that's their feeling. I don't know.
Deadpool made it look like it's pretty fun.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. What else you got on your nerve?
Yeah, what the fuck? Where did they even come from?
But that was Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah. There. It already wasn't a great show. Season 2 was good, but it's lost my interest.
It definitely wasn't great, but it was good.
I'm hyped for Willow.
Dude, me too.
Yeah, very. Now he probably has no idea, right?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Willow is like he's like a little fella.
Say it right.
He's a little fella, and he's got a he's
like
got
the original Lord of the Rings.
He's got well, it's not the original.
I mean, in a way, it was my first sci-fi. Or well, what would you call it? Yeah,
fantasy.
Yeah.
But like he's like got magical powers. He's got a wand and the whole bit. There's wizards and elves and knights and goblins and you know that whole deal. It was made by Lucasfilm, which is why I saw it because my dad was like Star Wars. You like it, right? You know, and I was like, this isn't Star Wars. But them motherfuckers getting turned into llamas and all sorts of shit. But it was good fun.
Yeah, I loved it.
And the sequel looks like I don't know, but it might be nostalgia talking. And
it's a series.
It's a series.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
I might be wrong. I'm pretty
sure.
Sure.
I don't know.
So just a little guy with a little wand, just trucking along.
Well, his wand's
fighting the bad guys.
His wand's average size.
Dude, proportionately, it's huge.
So there's a little guy wandering around the fantasy world,
saving the world.
Jeez.
And good fun.
Hey, shout out to the boy.
Shout out to the boy. Diversity.
There you go.
Back in the 80s.
Dude,
that is something that the 80s didn't get enough credit for.
Also, I thought he was dead. Did you think he was dead?
No, because that's
why.
Warwick. Like, he's all in Star Wars. He's
okay. I thought he was dead, yo. I was like, he's a what? I thought they CGI'd him and
he's
everything.
like in every Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi.
All right, my bad. I'm sorry. I have to
As you
look
were.
up. Yeah. Sorry,
Dude. He
Stepped
played
my Star Wars game.
Dude, there was a Ricky. Oh God, it's awful. But it's the Ricky Gervais, who I'm a huge fan of. He had a show on.
Is he in the American Office?
God damn it, motherfucker. But he had a show where God, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but it was about his life. And like, he had an agent, and the agent, because it's like he's selling himself as like, I'm so and so from Return of the Jedi and Willow. So like, they hired him to be at a Star Wars themed wedding. Like, his agent like lined it up, and his agent is like worthless, right? So like, he shows up to the Star Wars wedding, and they're like, "Where's the suit?" And he's like, "What suit?" He's like, "Where's the Ewok suit?"
Oh shit!
He's like, "I don't have an Ewok suit. I did that role fucking 30 years ago. I don't just carry an Ewok suit around with me." He's like, "It's a costume wedding, man. We're expecting the suit." So this lady is like, "I know what we can do." Takes him to her home, which is like across the street. Takes a giant teddy bear and cuts it open and takes the stuffing out and puts him in this teddy bear.
Oh, no.
It's fucking demoralizing.
Oh, no.
But it's so fucking funny.
At least he
Poor
laughed,
guy,
though.
man.
Yeah, but it's great. I was like, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was great. It might have been called Warwick. Which is like his name.
It's not based on Ricky Gervais. It's based on him.
It's based on him, but Ricky Gervais was in it, and he was
Gotcha.
like the person behind it, because they're like really close. Warwick and Ricky Gervais, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's super fucking weird connection.
Yeah.
I saw the Minions movie.
Did you?
Yeah.
Obviously, you weren't in a costume because they're not allowing people in Minions costumes to go see it.
Why is everybody wild now?
I guess because you could pack a semi-automatic weapon in your Minion suit.
No. I mean, no, I know.
Good old way AR-15, you know?
I mean, why is everybody wilding out? They're like wearing suits and they're wearing Minions costumes and they're like partying in theater. Like,
I have no idea.
It became like a culty fucking.
I had no idea. I would imagine that when did that movie, Despicable Me, right?
Yeah.
What year did Despicable Me come out? 2010. So those kids, if they were 5, they're now like late teens.
Maybe you know what?
I mean,
I think
y'all in
you're
the late teens.
100% onto it. That's exactly what it is.
The original Minions fans are just in their asshole phase of life.
Yeah, that's 100. I didn't even realize it. I couldn't figure it out, and that's as simple
crazy.
as that. Yeah, but I didn't.
These high school kids being young, dumb.
Young and full of yellow suits.
Bananas. Yeah. Potato. Yeah, I didn't have any. I didn't. I love the Minions as like characters and stuff. I think they're fucking hilarious. And then I didn't enjoy this movie like one bit. I was falling asleep.
Really?
Yeah, there weren't any scenes where I was like, "That's hilarious." Like, I mean,
There's nothing safe.
I know.
Every franchise just getting destroyed.
It's bad, man. They're wearing it out
one by one.
So that was sad. I mean,
movie game
broke
is
my
down
heart a little bit.
Dude, let's have a Minion Snyder cut.
All black and white.
All black and white.
That'd be
They get
dope.
into like the real trenches of the lore of how the Minions were created.
That'd be good.
It ends up becoming a metaphor for the pharmaceutical companies.
How long would it be? Pause. So to speak.
How's 3.5 hours? I'll give
Okay.
them. They get to the bottom of it. You know
Straight to streaming?
yeah, straight to stream because no studio had the balls to back it.
That's actually cooler than I thought it would be. I've been betting on UFC. That's been going great. Been killing it.
You've been betting?
Yeah. MGM. I go to MGM.
Oh,
casino.
okay.
Oh, okay.
And it's cool because I have a pretty good like thing in my head where I'm like, all right, I'll bet on somebody that I look at the odds. Like if I bet $100, I'll give you a perfect example. Just recently, Israel Adesanya fought Jared Cannonier.
This is when
Title
he came
fight.
out with the Undertaker.
He came out with the Undertaker outfit, and he told he's like, "I'm going to murder this dude's career."
That's
like,
hard.
And he came out, and but he didn't back it up. He won, but it was a snooze fest.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was like, "Dude, you don't come out," and it was like a hard fucking
Yeah, the
entrance.
entrance
And if he
hard.
went in there and knocked him out in the first, I would have been the biggest Israel Adesanya fan ever. But he didn't. It was a snooze fest. Yeah, and then Chris Pratt came out and said he was like, "Same thing I'm saying," and now they're beefing on Twitter, like an actor and a fucking UFC fighter. But it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So if Jared Cannonier, this was a 5-round fight, if Jared Cannonier submitted this dude, for every $100 you bet, you make $1,900. I can't pass that up. It's not going to happen. Shouldn't happen. But I was like, I put 70 on it. So, I mean, my return of investment would have been insane. But I know I'm able to recognize, like, this probably isn't going to happen, but I can go ahead and put this amount on it. You know, so I'm getting comfortable with, you know, what I'm willing to risk on an underdog versus, like, what I know is going to happen. Like, the smart bet, Drake bet $1 million on Israel Adesanya, who's supposed to win. That's fine. But if I bet 100 on Israel Adesanya, I get like $29 back. So those bets don't excite me, and I'm glad that I can recognize that, because when I do start to get into it and start recommending bets to everybody, like, I could say, listen, probably not going to happen, but go for it, you know?
Did you listen to the Drake project?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I like, how do I say this? I can take Drake for what he is. So taking Drake for what he is, and I think nobody saw it coming, right? Like, he dropped it kind of surprised me.
Well, it was a surprise drop.
And I was hyped. I was like, cool. The fucking 30 tracks to listen to for the next couple of days.
So I think that it was a surprise drop, but I think it was a surprise drop for a couple reasons.
So I think it's because, I think I told you this before too, because of Beyonce. So Beyonce's single.
That's exactly
with the house.
And but that joint was fire.
So they think, I've seen this on Terrace, people think Drake got word of what Beyonce is going to do with this album
and wanted to get ahead of it.
Yeah, want to be ahead of the curve, because
otherwise it's going to look wild as fuck, and he'll get ghosted numbers wise.
Yeah, by Beyonce. So he came in, just dropped what he had, whether it was finished or whatever he had
I don't
planned.
think it was a good strategy, whatever the fuck it was.
I'll say this after listening to it: I think that musically it's really good. I just wish somebody else worked with it. Like, I wish St. John did it. Like, with a lot of those beats.
So
he really knows how to tap into different cultures, or like,
but
culture vulture.
Dude, that's the thing. Can he not do that? Why is it okay that he can do that? Like, that's where I start getting, like, there's some shit out there it's not fair for all parties.
Yeah, I mean, but again, did he earn the opportunity, or was it, you know, afford it? Was he like crying for it and saying, I deserve it, I'm from Memphis, so I can mention 3-6, or, you know? I feel like he earned it. I mean, I do too, but I feel like he also cries too. He's light skinned. You know what I mean? That's what we do. So,
anything else?
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that the Drake album. Okay. Chris Pratt's in a show on Amazon. I can't think of the name, but I am
something. Isn't it like something list? The terminal list. Or
the terminal list. Bam, nailed it. You watch it?
No.
So it's good. It's a military guy, goes on a Navy SEAL mission. He's the only one that comes back, and there was a concussive blast. He's fucked up in the head, but you don't know what's real and what's fake, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
My only problem with the show right now is episode 2 gets a little slow, but it's been captivating, like edge of the seat, like what's about to happen now.
Is it based on a true story at all, or is it just
no?
Okay.
No. But well, I mean, kind of like
right, but not like an action.
Right. And the only complaint I have right now is everything. I think Chris Pratt is a good example of somebody that can bounce between comedy and like serious roles really well. He's losing me on this one.
Yeah,
he's losing me. He's like the head of this elite Navy SEALs unit, and I'm not sold. There's like a couple. He makes a joke in one scene, and I was like, why the fuck did you do that? And in his facial expressions, I'm just really not sold on it. So, but that's my only gripe about the show. I'm going to finish it, and I'm like excited for the next episode. It's been good. I recommend it.
Yeah. Love to hear it.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to
Is that it?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, that was a lot.
Sorry.
I didn't want to cut you short.
No, it's all good.
So I don't have much, honestly. We already talked about The Boys. I did end up watching The Boys. Diabolical,
the animation,
the cartoon one.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Okay,
I loved it except for one episode.
Ooh.
There was one episode that I hated.
Was it the one with the animal?
It was the one with the shit. And I was like, man, what the fuck? Why does this one seem so off?
Did you figure it out?
It's done by Awkwafina.
Oh nah, she's not funny to me.
And of course she's not funny. But I was like,
like she wrote.
Yeah. And I was like, isn't that funny that like? So there's certain things, right? Let me give you another example. I don't like her.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't like her. I think she's a hack. I don't think that she's talented. I think that it's all. It's based on a bunch of bullshit and irony shit, and like. You're not supposed to see me act this way, so I'm going to act this way, and whatever. So like, I say that to say this: every now and then I'm proud of myself in a world where I'm often not, because sometimes I think because I sit at this table and many other tables in my life and argue, I feel like the exact opposite side of everyone at the table. I'm like, man, am I just a contrarian? Is that who I am? Am I just the person that always wants to argue the other side just for the fun of it? And I think sometimes I do. But that being said, I hated that girl in Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah.
Thought she was completely obnoxious. And then I saw, but then I had to...
You hated Awkwafina in Shang-Chi?
Yes.
Okay.
And I argued that she was not good at this very table.
Yeah, I'm not liking that movie either.
So then I watched this show, right? And I'm like, man, I don't like this. Who made this? And it's her. And I'm like, oh, see, you don't like her. You didn't know that this was her. You just know that you don't like whatever this is, and it's related to her. So the same thing happened to me once before. Green Day, the band. I'm not here to shit on them, but I don't like one Green Day song. Not one. Not a one. Not a single one. And until one day I was on VH1 and I heard, and I'm young. I'm living with my parents, and I heard this song called "Working Class Hero" by Green Day, and I was like, God damn, I like this. I like this a lot. And I was like, do I fucking like Green Day now? Oh, no. So I went to work and I was like, man, I like this song, Working Class Hero by Green Day. Have you heard it? And they're like, is it a John Lennon cover? And I was like, I like John Lennon.
There you go.
And it's like, it's just reaffirmed that I still am who I am.
Yeah.
That, so that's how I felt about that episode.
I have a good example of that. I am not a Kevin Hart fan.
Me neither.
I appreciate Kevin Hart. I think he's a hard worker.
Yep,
I think
100%.
But I don't find him funny.
Yep,
right.
agreed.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. So Yesenia went to Atlantic City to watch him with a group of people. I said, I'm not going. She calls me, fucked up. Oh, he's so funny. It was so funny. I'm like, all right, well, tell me a funny joke. She starts, she must have said about 4. And I was like, she's like, I can hear you. I'm like, I know. So good. I don't think he's funny. She says a 5th joke. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. She was like, yeah, that was one of his opening guys. I was like, boom.
How about that?
Yeah, imagine
Open
that.
strong.
Exactly. That's a good point, though.
I don't find him funny. I don't find Kevin Hart funny.
It is reaffirming when you hate on somebody and then either other people agree with you or there's evidence that concludes this guy sucks.
I like his early stuff, but the stuff he does now, I'm just...
Even some of his early acting was disturbing, but his early comedy was kind of funny.
So I'm saying the comedy wise, early on I liked, but then over the years, I feel like it's just gone downhill. Not here for it.
So I watched, started a Hulu series called Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia, or it's like pharmacology, but it's not.
All right.
So it's a Vice show, which I didn't realize at first, but I should have, because I've seen this dude Hamilton and other stuff, and he's a character in and of himself. He's like this tall, skinny, geeky, but kind of introspective and thoughtful individual that I quite enjoy, and he has a very dry sense of humor that I also quite enjoy. But basically, he's just going around and doing a bunch of drugs and talking about the experience.
You talked about this already.
So I talked about the one with a toad.
With the frog. Yeah.
That was on YouTube.
Okay.
I found that he's got a whole show.
By accident?
My sister-in-law recommended it.
Gotcha.
So I've watched 2 episodes so far. One was on Mexican magic mushrooms.
Ooh, I can tell them already.
So I learned a couple interesting things. The person that basically found about them is this Mexican lady. I'm going to screw her name up, but it's almost like rhymes, like Sabrina Rena or something. She lived in the mountains. She's dead now, but she's the one that basically found them and had cultivated them and had used them for and I mean in a modern setting, like the Aztecs used them and all this other shit, but in a modern setting. There was some philosopher or professor or something from America that ended up going down there and had one of these experiences with her and asked if he could take them back, took them back, and he's the one that basically brought them to the West. And they kind of go into the history of them, and they talked about obviously the introspective kind of getting in touch with yourself element of them. They talked about to treat addiction, ADHD, ADD, all this kind of stuff. Depression was a big one.
What negatives did they throw out there?
None.
Love to hear it.
None. But like it was of value, and then you get to see him do a whole bunch because he's always doing drugs everywhere he goes.
How do you feel about him?
No, he loves him. Can't get enough.
Is it gonna? Well, he does a bunch of drugs. Is it kicking back? Is it? Well, obviously he needs to keep doing drugs for the show. But like, did he suggest that I do these mushrooms and I probably could get away with? I could drop acid now, like, or stop doing acid. I mean,
well, he basically, I mean, he doesn't make a hard line in the stand. It's more about just like. Here is what they are. Here's the history of them. This is what they do, etc. So the other one that I wanted to watch immediately because there's 3 seasons of this shit.
I'm gonna hop on this.
Yeah, it's great.
Why don't we just start our own fucking show? This dude's getting paid.
So there's a 3rd season, and the 3rd season is. I'm sorry, it was in the 2nd season. It was on ketamine, Special K. Now. When I was in high school, I knew one person that did it, one girl, and she was straight out the trailer. And
she sounds hot.
They used to call her like they I'm not gonna say her name, but they used to call her this person and then the pony, right? Because they use it for like horse tranquilizer, Special K.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know about them was that they were considered a disassociative, which does fascinate me. So I went to there directly next. Now, this is like a chemical, and you had to make the compound and all this shit. It's used often medically. Their kind of like big claim to fame about it was under modern anesthesia that if we, I'm not a fucking doctor, right? But whatever they use to put you under, if they cut that with 15% ketamine, you're not going to go under as deep, and you're going to come out of it better. You know, and then they also talked about like there's this one lady, they call her the conservative queen of ketamine, and like because she's very like conservative about it, everything. She just thinks it's a tool and it should be used for very specific things. It can also treat addictions and depression, bipolar, all this kind of stuff. But like they have this dude on there. He's like this old wise one, and they find him in like the desert of fucking New Mexico. He looks like Santa Claus, but skinny. And
that's exactly what I pictured.
And he's pretty pretty charming and thoughtful, like just in what he says, and he believes that that he talks to aliens and all sorts of shit. But he's done a fuck ton of drugs. And he's also like he paints and stuff. I'm like, where the fuck do these people get this money where they can just live and like paint
in
and
the
do
middle
drugs?
of nowhere.
But anyway, so what was heartbreaking about it is like right at the end, and I'm going to spoil this one, but right at the end of the episode, he's like, look, and I would really like if you could come back in like 2 to 3 years, and like we'll do Special K again, because they did it together sitting there. He's like, we could do it again. We'll just do some drugs again. He was born in 1940. Anyway, by the time the guy goes home and goes to contact him about the episode coming out, he learns that the fucking guy went into the hospital and fucking died.
Damn.
And he painted this picture for him to give to him, and like they show you the picture at the end, and it's like this landscape and everything is beautiful. There's obviously like these rocks like floating up in this one part, like because his brain is off the fucking meat rack. But yeah, it was but it's interesting, and the idea of, dude, there's this question, and like I understand, like, you know, and I know I'm an addictive personality, so I have to be careful about anything that I do. But I do have this like thought to myself of like, man, like you're only here once, and like, shouldn't you try to figure out yourself the best you can before you leave? Like, just figure out who the fuck you are, and you know, and find some sort of peace about it.
Especially because we're confined to social construct. You're confined to the law. The law says you can't smoke weed. The law says you can't do mushrooms. The law says this. You can't do that. So then what are you doing? You're building up stress while still doing your 9 to 5 and paying your taxes.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that laws are in place is because of people that have abused things that humans have been searching for this entire time.
Or we're just completely ignorant of.
Well, yeah, exactly.
There's no way that anyone that ever made a law surrounding marijuana, mushrooms, etc., have ever partook. And like, it's so ridiculous.
I know.
You know, it's like a boogeyman.
It's frustrating. And the older I get, I used to be scared. Like when we were growing up, and did you have DARE program? And I know you guys have talked about it before on the show, so I'm not going to like dive in, but like you were taught to be afraid of it. Even growing up, you were taught to be afraid of girls. You know what I mean? Like, don't have sex, don't do this.
AIDS.
And it was terrifying.
Instant AIDS.
Yeah, y'all dealt with that, huh?
Dude, it was like as soon as you you just lay down and
that was I wasn't even worried about having a kid. I was worried about AIDS.
Style. Yeah. You just thought it was a death sentence.
That's wild for me to think nowadays.
You just thought it was a fucking death sentence.
And the older you get, the more you learn, you're like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So then you do smoke weed. Then you do try other things. And like I say all that to say, I think it's completely unfair and almost a disservice to people with high stress level jobs, people with, you might be born with some chemical imbalances that this can help you. Microdosing can get you through your days better. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, it genuinely makes me sad. Like, I hope to see it change soon. I think it's coming, but
so, my last note on the topic of controversy. My middle daughter, Selena, thinks there's like going to be this thing of sweets, this tray of sweets, right? She opens up the tray, and inside of the tray is an assortment of crackers to use with like cheeses and meats and that kind of thing.
Not a bunch of white people.
So it's funny you say that. So she says, just a bunch of crackers.
With a hard R.
So Jaina was like, my oldest was like, don't say that. And she was like, why? She was like, it's like the bad word to say for white people. And Selena was like, what?
No way.
Crackers? So Selena like went on her first rant that I've ever heard. I tried to write down so many of them as possible. One was, well, compared to the N-word, crackers is not so bad.
True.
That's facts. We all agreed. She said, why is it so bad that we're delicious?
Oh, nah.
That's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. And she said, it doesn't seem fair that some people have awful words named after them, but we're just perfect white crackers. And just so the listeners understand, she's talking about like the butter crackers because that's her favorite. Like they're like a white cracker. So she's like, oh god,
is it the one with the blue and white stripes on it?
Comes in a green box.
Oh no, kind of. I do know those. Those are good.
Yeah, they're fucking great. But yeah, she was completely like, what?
Just oblivious to
oblivious. So
that's like the word redskin for me.
Well, real quick before we get into that, then we've had to like tone her back, and she's been calling everybody cracker.
No shit.
She's, like, you know what I mean? Like she's
better than that.
Oh my god! But that wouldn't be tolerated. To be fair, because we dealt with that one time. Because there, long story, and I've told this before, but like my oldest was playing basketball, and we all went to her basketball games, and her teams were diverse. And one of the teams had younger siblings. One of the teammates had younger siblings, and the younger siblings were throwing it around.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And Selena brought it like what's
this?
And I was like, oh god, And then like we had to like look like
they don't listen to trap music with you.
Well, so they do, but they don't
drill.
Drill. But yeah, they do, but they don't. Until then, they had never really thought about it.
Yeah, it was just.
It was actually after then that they would be like, "Dude, they say it all the time in your music." And I'm like, "I know. Look, there's nuance to it. It's but it is a confusing thing to try to explain."
I was listening to Bone the other day, which I listened to as a kid, and
They're great.
I was having some of them through the lyrics as a kid. So as an adult, I was still kind of doing the same thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's what they said." So like, I feel like there's a more of an understanding when you get older. So I could see why they would just float over the word and not think of anything of it until they heard it in person.
So we've already dealt with it and made it crystal clear. Like and what's funny is because like I told this story before, but like I had a guy in my neighborhood that was like, it was my first introduction to the word, and he was like, "Do you know what the worst curse word?" He said, "Do you know?" All the curse words combined, what word that means all the curse words combined? And I was like, what? And he dropped it.
Oh, man.
And I was like, well, secret weapon, is how I'm thinking, right? I'm like 4,
Yeah.
So I go inside and I'm like, Dad, you ever heard about, and he was like, what?
Did you just say?
And I was like, it's all the cuss words combined. And he was like, no, it's not. And then we had a conversation about it. Then he called that dude's mother, who he was friends with, like in the neighborhood. And she was like, no, we had to have a conversation about it because it was in a movie. And I told him it was worse than all the curse words combined. But like to a 5-year-old, you're just like, oh,
yeah, he has no.
Well then,
yeah,
like, game on. But anyway, so it was an interesting conversation. But she was going around all week, like like I would be like, Jana, take a shower. I'd be like, yeah, stinky cracker. Like, hey yo, she does these voices and shit. She had COVID like a couple weeks ago, right? And I came into her presence and I was like, what's going on? And she was like, COVID. And then I was like, what? And she was like, 6 feet, please.
Voice acting, man.
Yeah, she's funny. But all right, so we do actually have some notes. So R.I.P. We got a couple R.I.P.s. R.I.P. to Paulie Walnuts, passed away from The Sopranos. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I saw that.
Dude, what a bummer. He was like the old guy with the white just kind of wings in his hair.
Yeah.
I
didn't even hear that.
He was 79. So, he
was up there.
Yeah, he lives up there. And then James Caan, also known as Sonny from Godfather, he also passed away. So, man.
I saw that too.
That was awfully rough. So, rest in peace. Thoughts to family, friends, fans, etc. Paulie, man, my favorite, I've talked about it 1,000 times, but my favorite moment of Paulie in The Sopranos 2, one was obviously the Russian episode in the snow where put universal remote back on docking station, and he's like, what the fuck did he just say? But when he, like, the dude was like, put universal remote back on docking station, and Paulie's holding the remote and he goes, oops. And then like Tony's trying to tell him the connection's bad. He's like, he works for the interior defense, and he's like, say the guy's an interior decorator. But the famous one is like when Chris Moltisanti like gets shot and he thinks he goes to hell, and he's like, Paul, it's the life we live. Like, that's where we're going. He's like, I'm baptized. It's like, it doesn't matter, Paulie. Like, we're fucking think about the things we're doing. And he's like, no. So it's like fucks with Paulie. Like the whole episode, it fucks with him. He like, it comes back to him at the end of the episode. He's like, hey, Chris, where you went? Was it hot? He's like, no, it wasn't hot. He's like, you didn't go to hell. Hell is hot. It's never been argued by anyone. Where you went was purgatory, my friend. And as far as I'm concerned, I do a couple 100 years in purgatory, but in eternity terms, I could do that standing on my head, and I get out.
That's pretty good logic.
I mean, he's not totally wrong.
But R.I.P. to him. R.I.P. to James Caan and the Godfathers. Jana's getting into an age also where like she's like opening up to movies and shit like that aren't like based on cartoons or whatever. So like getting to watch like Snatch with her and
that's a good one.
Yeah, stuff like that. Where it's like I'm looking forward. We basically like, I mean, not to be crude, gentlemen, of course, but like when my wife gets a period, it's like Jana movie week.
That's crude.
Yeah, so like we have like a running list of like movies to like check out. Like, so I'm looking forward to like breaking out some of like the classics.
What's next?
So I don't know. Like, I really want to watch Bram Stoker's Dracula with her, and 300 with her.
Oh God.
Yeah, like there's so many. Like, because like for her, it's like the bar is so high. It's like unless it's like just like some crazy sex shit, like I'm kind of okay with it at this point. And rape, because she
I ain't gonna lie, I hate watching that shit, bro.
Yeah, she struggles with the rape.
It.
Well, it's funny because like there's a rape scene in Dracula where the wolf rapes Lucy, the red hair girl.
I don't remember that.
So what's
compartmentalized.
So what's funny is I never saw it that way. Like, I know it technically is rape as an adult, but when I was a kid,
it's different, man.
It seemed like she was into it.
Yeah, because you just don't. I mean, you don't know.
Because she's kind of. I feel like I'm sounding like the monster. She kind of seems into it, like in the moment, right? And then afterwards, she's like, I could still feel the taste of the blood. Like she feels like distressed, but like she's like moaning and carrying on during the
scene.
And that's a real thing in real life too. I heard.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah. But she gets.
And then they have therapy because they're like, I fucking enjoy it.
They get caught in the act. and Dracula turns to the female he's actually in love with, and he's like, "Don't see me." And that's like a thing that my wife and I often, like, whenever we get caught in the middle of, like, if she comes downstairs and I'm like, got my hand in a Dorito bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was going a different way. I was like, yeah.
No, I'll be like, "Don't see me." But yeah, recipe of both those anyway. Rise of Tmnt. Did you guys see this? It's a trailer for the animated movie for Turtles. It's based on the modern cartoon. It doesn't look good to me. It does. It's
I
too.
that was a thing.
That's another thing. Like, you could go serious with it, but you keep being fucking cheesy.
Yeah. Now this is a kids, like, it's from their kids cartoon out now. Like, it's all in line. So like, but speaking of which, Joe linked me to this Death of the Ronin or whatever.
The Last Ronin.
Ronin.
I love it.
The fan made movie.
Oh,
short.
no, I didn't know that.
I'll send you the link. It's animated, but like computer digitally animated, and it's only like 3 minutes, but it's like fucking like it hits you right in the feels. It's like,
Well, that story in itself is
yes,
like I like because it's serious,
right.
and it's dark, and like you know.
I got the first edition original cover. It's worth like $700 now.
no shit.
Yeah, I got it for like 12.
Dude, put it on the table at MGM.
Slight
man.
flex,
Yeah,
dude.
no bullshit. Yeah.
The next one note I have is the fall of Musk. Elon Musk is backing out of the Twitter deal now. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
And he got caught up with the baby mama thing too.
Oh, the baby mama drama,
Yeah, dude.
Dude, BM's out here acting crazy.
Dude, hard to be a billionaire, man.
Well, that's what Ricky Gervais said. You know what I mean? He's like, minorities represent less than 25% of most populations. Life must be pretty hard. But white heterosexual millionaires represent 1%. It's pretty hard for us too.
I meant to watch that stand up.
Oh man,
That's a new one he dropped, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it's not as clever as Dave Chappelle. That's what makes him the GOAT to me.
Right.
But it's way more offensive.
I'm all about it.
Way. Like he goes out to the line and runs back 10 feet and then jumps as far as he can over it. So apparently it had to do with the fake accounts or whatever. And
we had mentioned that before too. Like if he was going to buy that, he needs he wanted like the numbers of like how many profiles were actually like real or
he did say that,
fake and all that. And I guess I don't know, just this shit didn't work out with Twitter.
And I also feel like he made the point he wanted to make. Like,
yeah,
I don't think he really wanted to buy it.
Right.
I just think it was just
everybody said that, like, financially, how's he going to gain on this? Like, what's
yeah, but it was like, I mean, like, I don't know if the point's been made, because like Twitter still acts the same way, where it's like you can say anything you want as long as you're looking at it through this lens.
Yeah.
It's like an unfortunate truth, but it is the truth. Like my thing is, I've talked to guys about in length. It's just like freedom of speech. It matters when it's the most fucked up, because that's the first thing that gets taken away, and as soon as you start taking it away, then you cross the line.
Snowball thing.
Web of Unexplained on Netflix or something like that.
I
with
saw
the swatting.
it. I saw. Oh, Joe's talked about it.
Okay, yes. There's an episode about freedom of speech where this girl ends up like she's looking for her place in the world, and she ends up being.
Aren't we all?
Long story short, she gets like influenced and she starts going on. It has to do with the deaths in Charlottesville when that dude ran over the protesters.
Right.
She felt like she had somehow influenced that just using her words.
Right.
So it's an interesting perspective.
Well, that doesn't mean that words don't have consequence.
Right. But she also didn't say, hey, don't let anybody protest around here,
Right.
But she, yeah. Then they talked about, should she have been censored on Twitter? Like, what is responsible?
Yeah.
But
it's like, whatever it is, the only thing that you do is push people further apart by making some sort of definitive, these are the right people in this argument and these are the wrong people in this argument, when the argument is up for debate. Like, abortion is up for debate. You can feel how you feel about it, but it's a debatable topic. That's why it's fucking debated, right? But when you start saying like, okay, well, if you're for, and I'm, for the record, before the tweets start coming at me, I am pro-choice. But if I wasn't, and I had some real valid reasons of why I felt that way, by silencing me, all you're doing is pissing us off.
Yeah, you're putting fuel on the fire.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right, so it's not going to be that. I saw the trailer for the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings show that is coming.
I know, but I haven't seen the trailer for it.
So I don't know, man. Like, I'm starting to feel like they're just not going to be happy until they. So, like, nothing about it looks bad. But I'm just scared now because I feel like they're just not going to stop until they step on everything.
Well, it's like he was talking about. Like, Hollywood's fucking struggling. It's like, how many Minions movies? How many? And it's not just Minions. It's Despicable Me, and then it's Minions, and then it's fucking Lord of the Rings. But now it's, what was it? Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. It's like, what do they call it? The Power of the Ring?
Yeah, I mean,
it's something along the lines. Which is a prequel, right?
The Rings of Power, pardon me. As I was
and that's a prequel, right? To like the whole Lord of the Rings
which I
movies.
think is somewhat based on. I fucked this. Look, there's a 100% chance I'm going to get the pronunciation of this word wrong.
Oh, God.
I'm going to go so far as to say I don't know how to pronounce this word. It's one of those words, I've talked about it before, where I see it and I decide how it's pronounced in my head.
Like theater.
No, not like theater. There's an A in there, but like I see it. I don't know how it's pronounced, so I come up with a pronunciation for it. Like a better example would be Thanos. So as a kid, I saw it in a comic. Yep. I always said Thanos, and now I see it's Thanos. But I'm old dogs, new tricks, and that shit. Like I'm not gonna call it. I feel weird calling him Thanos now.
Thanos.
I feel it's like the guy that's like my name's Antonio. I say my name's Antonio, and then he takes one fucking summer trip to Italy for a week, and he comes back. He's like, from now I would prefer you call me Antonio. Antonio from northern Italy. I look down my nose at you.
Who are you?
So that's how I feel a bit about me saying Thanos. I just feel like I'm trying to be fancy now with the rest of them. But like, there is a book that Tolkien published that was not a story, but it was to my understanding, it was more almost like an encyclopedia. It was like a historical, like this happened of events that was supposed to be kind of like supplementary material to that
I think
universe.
I remember that.
And it's not called this, but yet it's called something in the pocket of this, the Silmarillion.
I don't even know how it's supposed to be said. So
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
But I know that's not it.
Yeah, Silmarillion.
The Silmarillion. But it's something in that ballpark. And I think that this story is supposed to be somewhat based off of that.
Oh, something off the encyclopedia.
Yes. Where they, like the encyclopedia says, like, today they recorded Nerve Age. Gomez arrived at 12:55, and Casey arrived at 1:05, and Bobby made coffee, and then they all walked downstairs and got microphones plugged in and started talking. Whereas this is like, Gomez arrived 5 minutes early, quite proud of himself as he knocked on the door, knowing that he had made it before the set. You know what I mean? It's like they're just turning this like thing that's like listed in a string of events into like a
just make a show out of historical facts of whatever happened.
Yeah, it's like in universe history book.
Yeah, gotcha.
Is my understanding of it, but I could be wrong. There's probably I always think like I'm like the more I do this show, the more I just realize I'm a fake nerd. But like,
did you read it?
No, book? Hell no, man. I tried to read the first book, The Fellowship of the Ring. I made it like 8 pages, and I was like, nope. Not for me.
You know when you Google a word and then it has the questions that it thinks you want to ask? One of them popped up. It said, is Silmarillion, I don't know.
Do you see it?
Worth reading? The answer was, the only people I know who have read it are huge Tolkien nerds, and they'll say it's one of the greatest books ever written.
So like, yeah, but that's it. And I think that's what it's based off of. So the next thing I have is Clerks 3. Did you see a trailer for this?
Yeah.
No.
Looks pretty good.
You mentioned it, but I haven't seen anywhere the trailer posted anywhere.
You want to talk about culty shit? I only saw it on IG, and I don't know why they suggested it to me because I'm not like a huge.
Dude, I haven't seen it. I thought
my comic book searching.
Probably.
Yeah,
it's of the culture.
Yeah. Oh, I referred. Shit. Short story. Went on my cruise, met a couple girls, completely like platonic. Like just whatever. Kept seeing them at dinner, strike up a conversation, exchange IGs. One of them does like cosplay stuff, but like weird, like Japanese cosplay stuff.
Okay,
like never like a Harley Quinn type shit. Like
right.
Anime vibes.
Also a bunch of K's and Y's.
So I sent them to the NRR page, the IG. Yeah, I was like, hey, if you really want some fucking thirst traps, so I can't wait to see if Phil gets on it.
Phil. Dude. I'm sure he's got some thirst going on.
I told her specifically, I was like, Phil messages you, let me know.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, I thought it looked fine. I think it's not going to theaters proper. It's like getting a limited release in theaters, which makes me think like, oh,
about to be trash.
Yeah, it might be trash.
Straight to DVD.
I mean, the first two, like, I was a huge Rosario Dawson fan, and I was kind of like, this is a little like underwhelming. It's culty as fuck.
It is, but it's like
it's unique. It's not the same shit. But now it's his third one.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it needed a third one, especially because they're like the third one is about making a movie about them.
Yeah,
which I feel like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was kind of like that already.
Yeah.
It just feels like a retread of a retread to me. And then lastly, there was a trailer for Paper Girls. Familiar at all? So it's a comic. I have the first volume of it somewhere. It's good. It's interesting. It's a thoughtful piece. But Raul, I think, actually gifted it to me. But it's an image book, and it's going to be on Amazon. And
what's the premise of it?
So my memory is awful, but like these girls are all on a paper route, and in the show.
Oh, wait! I think you had brought it up to me before, and I actually went deep dive Wikipedia on it, and it's like has to do with the whole like timeline.
Yes,
like
they see like their future.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
Yes. So there's a show coming out. It's on Amazon. So like I'm hoping that Amazon seems to be picking up these little independent and I say independent as Image, but you know what I mean.
Well, smaller like stories.
Yeah, and fleshing them out and doing stuff with them. So I'm on board, even if it doesn't look as good to me as the boys looked. I'm still going to give it a shot.
You getting the impression it's going to be like femme power?
Well, there's a little bit of that anyway, but I get the impression that it's going to be a little bit more family friendly.
That's the other thing I liked about the boys, and I think you brought it up. It's like it's all there, diversity, like homosexuality, like everything. But it's fine.
It's not only is it fine, it's normal.
Yeah, it's just there.
And that is. If you're living anywhere in like a popularized hub, that's life now.
Right, exactly.
And in regular life, we all mop. We all know plenty of homosexual men and lesbian women that mop along, and none of them jump up and down to say like, that, hey. Hey, did you know? Did you know? It's just.
I can think of one.
Okay, well, for the most part,
the majority.
For the most part,
I agree.
There's just like it's just in the. You just know, and it's no big deal, and you like
no one bats an eye.
No one bats an eye.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Like, and that's what I like about the boys is like they don't skip a beat with it. It's a character note, and nobody ever stops to say, Maeve, you're so brave, except for the fucking corporation.
How'd you feel about the Maeve and Butcher sex scene?
I was into it.
I mean, I wanted it. I wanted it bad.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this: like, I'm no expert on women at all. I don't understand them at all. I don't pretend to understand them, and most of them don't understand me either. But I'll say this: I have had lengthy conversations with lesbian women about their sexual preference, and all of them have said, well, to me, sexuality is kind of a scale. Like, you could be a 10, you could be a 0, but you kind of find yourself somewhere in the middle or somewhere on this side or somewhere on that side. I'm still attracted to men. I still enjoy the physical elements of a man, but I can never reach the emotional depth of a woman and get that.
Which is fair.
Which is fucking fair. Yeah. And like, I totally get it. And especially for like some older women that like, they know that that's what really matters to them now is like, truly connecting with someone on some sort of other fucking level. Like, I totally get it. Whereas with gay men, when I've had those same conversations, it's like, nope, I'm into dudes.
Yeah.
I am into dudes.
Yeah.
I am. It's not about, it's not because they're good at video games.
So interesting.
Or we enjoy sports together. I'm just into them, whereas women is much more like, it's much more complicated because they're much more complicated.
Yeah, they're different, yo.
But
I thought it made some sense.
I wasn't surprised by the sexual act. I was surprised by like, one, he hates fucking soups.
Yeah,
that's the whole fucking premise, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like,
and then he got on the fucking temporary.
It's kind of like, it's like the racist guy.
I knew that's where you were going to go with
black porn.
Yeah. Okay, I that completely explains it, and I'm cool with that. It seemed like it didn't need to be there. Was my only problem.
That's fair.
What did that lead to? What did we
fair.
get out of that besides kind of everybody wanted to see it.
Right.
But like,
no, that's fair. Except maybe to see
it didn't change any dynamics.
Maybe no, it didn't. But maybe if I'm just to play devil's advocate, I ultimately agree with you. But like maybe to say like, look how far he's lost himself. Look how far.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No worries. I think that's it for the notes. Yeah. So then we have questions.
Questions not for me and Gomez.
Yeah, maybe. And,
why are both of them out? Where was Joe had?
So Joe is working.
Okay.
And Chris is out of town.
Yeah.
So it was like, and Joe's working like, because Joe's actually going to be out of town, I think, next week.
Mm-hmm. So he's working like crazy right now.
So he's working like crazy. So it's just, this whole month is a mess. All right, so we have Caleb. Caleb writes in and says, "Fucking diabolical." Hello, gents. Hope you all survive the holiday weekend with all your fingers intact. So I just wanted to say that I binged all the boys in about a week. My interest was first piqued when it was announced that Jensen Ackles would be a star in season 3, but I didn't sit down to actually watch it until I heard all of you raving about it. I went from season 1, episode 1 to season 3, episode 6 in the span of about 5 to 6 days.
Shoo.
Mm-hmm. I would be on the couch watching at 3 a.m., saying to myself, I'll finish this episode and go to bed. Except I wouldn't go to bed. I'd watch another episode because it was so fucking good. I think I heard you saying the last week's episode has been renewed for 2 more seasons. I couldn't be happier. Anyway, I guess I should ask a question since this is a question segment of the show. So how do you think this season will end? Well, it's a little weird to answer that now. I can't even hazard a guess. I know this is getting long, so to speak, but before I leave, I wanted to share something interesting that happened just this morning. I run a Transformers toy photography Instagram account, and I got a new Instagram follower notification, so I checked out the person's account like I always do. First thing I noticed was that the guy looked really familiar, and something made me think of one of your Skullfest videos. Turns out it was Herrick and BX, randomly found my Instagram and followed. So shout out to Herrick and BX and all that. And shout out to you, Caleb. The truth is, unfortunately, we all kind of know how it ends.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this as a, how do you think the show will end?
Yeah. Oh, next season.
Like the show.
The show.
Period.
Dude, I tell you what, if Homelander doesn't die, I'm not in for it for a character redemption. And
hell no. He can't be redeemed.
No, I don't want to see that. So Homelander's got to go. I don't give a fuck if it's Soldier Boy or Butcher. I do want to see Butcher. Butcher's already coming around, right?
Yeah.
Like when he saved what's his name, like Huey, from himself. Butcher's gonna die. Butcher's gonna get Swiss cheese on the brain, and that's what it's gonna take for him to kill Homelander. They're both gonna probably die at the same time.
That's my guess.
Yeah. And then Starlight gets the #1 spot and tries to change the superhero stuff for good.
That's my guess too.
V stops getting produced. There's going to be an end of the soups because, well, there's going to be an attempt to be an end of the soups.
And then the very last scene.
Yes, there's going to be some mad side. It's going to be fucking Frenchie. Frenchie's going to have the last. Yeah.
I'd be okay. Frenchie's my favorite character. Frenchie
He's awesome, man.
And his girl.
Sometimes I got to throw the subtitles on, but I love it.
Yeah. So Alan Mack writes in. He says, just to add, hey boys again. And what have you made of the new season of Stranger Things? And Netflix should put. Should Netflix put? Our Netflix should put. Are Netflix outdoing Disney Plus?
Fuck no.
Yeah, no, they're not. Like they're just not. Like there's nothing on. I mean, I know Stranger Things is popular now, and it's in the public consciousness now, which is the first time Netflix has been in the public consciousness in a while. But,
since Tiger King.
But like, I hate these fucking shows. Yeah. But every time Disney Plus puts out a fucking Marvel or Star Wars show, it's right there. They can't. They're not missing. They're missing me.
And the age range is insane.
Yeah, but they're hitting the general market every time.
Something for Netflix problem, and I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. And normally when I have one idea, if it pops in my head again, I'm like, maybe onto something. Tier it. They should do tiers. Like they always try to categorize everything, and then they'll say like, just play something. Like that's how bad it is. And it's like, just put something on.
Right.
So I think if they, remember I was talking about like, the Umbrella Academy somewhere between cleaning the room and sitting the fuck down and paying attention. If they tiered it, A, B, C. C is literally clean. Like I can throw this on something that you could have commercials on. Or, you know what I mean? 90 Day Fiance is a good example. Like that's something you could just like put noise, on the noise. That's your C category. If Netflix offered me that, I'd find something to watch faster and I would go to Netflix more often. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, it's the hardest part for them admitting, hey, this show's kind of trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. But you'd get more people to watch those trash shows because I skip them on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, Love, Death, and Robots. I feel like that's a category B. Right? One episode. If you miss one episode, you can come back and watch it, or you can watch the second one. It's got nothing to do with the other.
Right.
That's a category B because it's good, but you don't got to necessarily be locked in.
Right.
Stranger Things, locked in, category A.
Right.
You do that, it makes it. I'm more inclined to turn on Netflix more often.
Yeah, I think that another thing, that, at least for me, one of their downfalls, excuse me, is was their production company.
Yeah, when they started
producing content, then they started pushing their content, which is business sound. But I wasn't interested.
There's no demand,
and then I didn't want to watch. And then the shit, like I would play this game with Laura because she defended Netflix until the fucking cows come home. But like, I'd be like, look, this is like our recommended to us, like supposedly based on our algorithms, this is recommended to us. And I was like, I want you to keep a tally of how many of these happen to have that red N on them. You know, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
85%.
It's crazy. And most of that shit has nothing to do with the stuff that we watch. I say this all the time, but like from Knives Over Forks or Forks Over Knives, they recommended me that fucking thing.
I know. Couldn't give a shit.
I never watch diet-based documentaries. Like
most of the stuff they put on that, I have no interest in. Don't ever want to watch.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't think that. I think now. I will say I think HBO is outdoing the whole gang. I think that HBO, Hulu, and Amazon are probably my top 3 right now.
But again, like they're
but I don't think they're as popular as the Disney Plus stuff.
Because of the age range.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
I agree, dude. I love me some HBO shit. Yo.
Speaking of which, I did watch something else. I watched The Old. I think it's called, or just maybe it's just Old on HBO. It's a movie. M. Night
on the beach.
Shyamalan on the beach.
Yeah, I'm over that shit. I told you.
So I didn't watch it, but I didn't hear too many good things about it.
It wasn't great.
No, I watched that too. I watched that when it first dropped. I was so hyped, and it was like disappointing.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Paul C., what songs are on your Get Hype playlist?
I mean, we know what's on yours.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have many playlists that aren't Get Hype playlists.
Yeah.
Most of my playlists are tempo-wise and sort of energy-wise on the up. So every now and then I can go in.
I don't have a playlist on my phone.
I want to know. I want to know.
But like mine's is just, I'll pick a song that I want to start off listening to and it's just shuffle.
Yeah.
Like, through all of my songs.
Yeah.
I don't have a set playlist at all for anything.
Dude, when I was younger,
I have folders of playlists on my phone where it breaks down into subfolders.
I don't have that type of organizational ability.
Yeah, I mean neither.
But when I was younger, had to have a gym playlist, and it was the hardest shit I could find.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then it was like T.I. or some shit. Now, I don't. It's tough to find something that motivates me. So like some hard shit like just doesn't really hit me because they'll say something. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You ain't know. But anyways, but you wouldn't like my hype tracks. There's a couple that we go into like if I need to get pumped up for work. Some of those get me. You know,
what is it?
Old school fucking rock. Like
really,
you know, AC/DC. Isn't that AC/DC's Thunder?
That's certainly one. Yeah.
Thunder. Yeah.
I'm like, let's fucking go. Like shit like that.
That's funny to me.
Yeah,
I'm surprised actually.
It's random. It's random shit.
It depends for me. Like I'm all over the place. There's definitely rock songs that get me pumped. But
let's do it like this. You're a UFC fighter. What's your walkout song? Ooh. What's the song that's going to get you in there and get you to fucking kick somebody in the fucking head?
So like, I mean,
it's tough, right?
So I would say my go-to right now is a song called "Spin the Coupe" by Abracadabra.
I'm gonna write it down.
You know, and it's a.
I don't know, because like even like when I played sports, like soccer game, I didn't like I had listened to my music, but like there wasn't really like one to be like, yeah, this is it. This song's gonna get me hyped. I was like, I'm
the same.
Just go and do what I gotta do, and that's it.
Well, so like I'm not really. I never really played. I mean, I played sports when I was a kid.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I played baseball. I played baseball until I was
Intense.
fucking too far. I was too old to be playing baseball, in my opinion. My dad made me play. I didn't want to play. I played soccer too. My dad made me play, like, because he just didn't want me home doing nothing, idle hands.
Yeah,
you know. But then, like, all roads ended up leading to Rome anyway. I definitely ended up doing the devil's work.
Look at me now.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get pumped a bunch of shit. Like right now, I mean, so a big drip from a Fabi comes on, and I'm running to the speaker to get it turned up. Like, you know, like. I'm really, music affects my emotions like very quick, but sometimes like sad songs will come on and I'll get turned up, like just because I love that shit.
That's my
much.
that's what's the second part of what I was gonna say. When I'm in the gym, it's like slow shit, man. Like,
so
not R&B, but just like mood music.
So when I'm in the gym, I listen to podcasts.
It's so weird,
I can't.
man.
I tried listening to y'all, and somebody even wrote in. I can't do it because you don't know what's gonna, like, fucking Joe says something and I start laughing in the middle of a fucking squat. It's like the worst fucking. Or Chris tells a stupid joke and now I want to throw the weights across the fucking room.
So that's how I feel too. But I try to keep them like not as funny, like pause, but like. I need to have, like, I can just have it on and listen to it in the background. Whereas like music, I get too into that, like listening to like
into the song
where I stop. I'm like, what was I 4? Was I on 5 or 6? Or like, I can't remember what rep I was on. I can't, like, I lose focus.
That's the engineer in you.
Yeah, maybe. All right. And then we have, Caleb writes in again. Hello again, gentlemen. I suspect this will be my second email on the show. I must have missed the recording from last week, which unfortunately renders my previous question about the boys completely useless. So hopefully you just ignored that question.
We did you one better.
He says this one is for Joe, but are either one of you guys into Gundam or know anything? I know you dabble in anime.
I used to watch it as a kid, like very heavily.
He might have got his answer last episode too, the one he said he missed.
But it's been years, honestly, since I've gotten into it.
So he said after last week's Gundam talk, he had mentioned that most Americans' introduction to Gundam was Gundam Wing, but I don't think that's the first one I ever saw. I don't remember what it was called and only have vague memories of it, but maybe you can help me identify it. So sorry, Caleb, you had to send this one back in, and probably it'll be for a while because Joe's not going to be here for a while. I think.
I don't even remember the first one, what it was called, the first one I watched, but I was a kid.
I wish I liked that shit.
He said last week was Wing, right? He said the Americanized one was Wing.
And he said that that's not what his was.
Oh.
So, but like I always saw the shit around, like at little hobby stores and stuff. I always thought it looked fucking cool.
I had the little toy, like, of the actual main Gundam suit, and that was pretty cool in the time.
Is the main one the Optimus looking one that you guys were talking about?
The red, white,
blue, and red.
Dude, that is a dope. And he said Joe says that's the weakest one.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm gonna watch it now. He's
like the main. That's like the main suit. Like all the main character is always in that same Gundam.
That's dope.
And see, I didn't have any concept of it. I just saw the model kits and thought they looked cool.
Me too.
I watched Iron Blooded Orphans.
That's
and
a newer one, but I've never seen it.
So like they say that one's the shit. Like, oh my god, like have you seen the Snyder Cut? Like you know, the same type of shit. And I watched it, and I didn't know it was guys in suits.
I didn't either. I never knew.
Dude, and as soon as I found that out, I was like, out. You know, like I'm out. Like I just, because man, I don't. Oh man, they kill me for this shit. I don't think anime. I should say, to keep it about me and not just an objective statement, I think that anime loses me with their performances. That's where they lose me. I don't connect to the characters. I find that they all kind of speak in similar tones and cadences, and I get lost in it in a bad way, where I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, he looks so much like that one, and that one looks so much like this one.
That's why a lot of times they recommend not doing dub.
Right. So, but I'm not sitting there and reading
that's
the movie.
Problem with Netflix's anime stuff now, because it's a whole bunch of different Netflix anime shows, but they're all the same voice actors.
Yeah.
So like it's like you hear the same voice over and over again with like kind of similar character, blah blah blah. It's like
we often joke on it on Dummies where Jisk is like, man, I couldn't get into Dragon Ball because it was just like, oh, my cloak, you stepped on my cloak.
Yeah, I know. It's so true.
It just sounds.
That was what happened. Remember the Godzilla movie that they dropped on Netflix?
Yeah,
I was like, yo, why are they talking like it was? It just wasn't lining up.
I can't, and I figured like, you know, I could connect more with the robots if they were, you know, I thought I might be able to get more into it, and then the moment that like the suit opened up and some dude popped out, I was like, oh, for
there's
Christ's
not many show like anime shows that have great dubbed voices. There's not many. Most of them are just better if you just So
I watched Akira when I was a kid and loved it, and
Akira was great.
Yeah, and I watched Fist of the North Star when I was a kid and dug it, and there's a few others, but like it just like I feel like something happened when it got into like when the shows started overtaking the movies as far as the American market was concerned. Like, dude, I can't. I YOLO. I only got one life to live. I'm not watching 38 seasons of this shit. You know, I don't give a fuck how good it is.
What's the one that was like, I said something, I was like, I'm about to get into this, and they were like, good luck, it's like 30 seasons.
Oh, Naruto?
No,
One Piece.
Oh, One Piece. It's One Piece. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah. They were like, good luck. I was like,
that shit's
all right,
great.
I'll pass. Yeah.
Nah, that shit's great though.
For
like,
real?
yeah, it's.
All right, fuck it.
I love it. I think it's.
Yeah, I can't get into it. I can't. I've never tried that one, but like just in general, like I prefer. I was just talking to Jana about this because like there's sometimes where like I think it has to do sometimes with just the art of storytelling, man. Where I'm like, man, like I'll watch a cartoon like there's these boys shorts, so to speak. Yeah. That one where it was the old woman and she had cancer and the husband was like taking care of her and then gave her the V to kind of cure the cancer, but then the cancer ended up becoming a monster and came out and like and then like as she's going to like kill the cancer monster, she's like, don't forget to eat. Like, just because I'm not there doesn't mean you should stop taking care of yourself. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and I'm like, why is it? This is an anime in the sense that it's obviously Japanese inspired animation, but it's written by Americans and it's fucking like it's written by Western people. And I just connect more with the story like immediately.
You've been talking about this for like the past 3 weeks, though.
Past 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, like I went to fucking Disney and there was a little thing about a little bird eating a turtle or some shit on the fucking, it was animated. And I was like, dude, I don't want that. I'm invested. Like, let the turtle live. Like, all the, you know, like I'm into it. You know, but it's like, I'll watch something like it'll be like, oh, dude, this is an epic sprawling adventure of Katsukumo and others. I'm like, man, this show sucks.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where that coming from on that.
But anyway, so we got one from Kevin R. He said, I had some superficial shit I was going to email you about, but I'm too OST, old soft and trash. My son's teenage friends, guys and gals, started calling me dad. This is what I secretly always wanted, to be a dad to those who needed one. Are there any surrogate names that you or your significant others get called? That you or your significant others get called uncle, aunt, mom, dad, etc. So I'll say like my kids obviously call a lot of people uncle. That's not their blood uncle. You know, and then when I was a kid, I called a lot of guys uncle that wasn't my uncle. Like, I mean, some of them didn't anywhere near deserve it. Like, you know, I see this motherfucker like twice in my life, and he's uncle so and so. And then my grandma was grandma, like to the whole street. Like everybody called my grandma grandma. Like, you know, like they would say like grandma's Bobby home, like whatever. Like it was like her name, you know. But that's the only time I've ever witnessed that. And then my dad, they used to call Papa Skullface, but everybody called him that. You know, or sometimes they call him old Papa Skullface, but not because he was like a father figure to them, but because like he just treated everybody like they were his fucking son. Like he'd be like, you know, like get out of there, get out, you know, like you know what I mean? Like get off that, you know, you don't belong on that.
Oh, Clint Eastwood.
Dude, I'll never forget these two kids who my dad knew. And they were playing catch with a baseball in the shared parking area where all the cars were, and he came out. He's like, "Hey, you got $3,000 in your pocket?" And they were like, "No." And he was like, "Stop playing around my car, then get on the ground." Like,
is that how much his car was worth?
I think
No, I know. Damn,
yeah. But it may have been worth that too. But yeah, that was it for me. You guys?
I mean, like you said, you talk to the OGs and everybody, what's up, you know, but as far as somebody calling me anything, the only one that let me know my social status was when the neighbors across the street, she was having problems with her car, and then the kids got out of the car and they're like, "Thank you, Mr. Blank." And I was like, Mr. Fuck, get the fucking side.
No cousins that weren't really cousins.
Oh, like, what's up, cuz?
No, like just like, this is my cousin. But then you find out that's definitely not.
Nah, I'm not a fan.
That was definitely the case in my neighborhood where the people.
I'm not a fan either, but like that family that grew up, well, we call them family because we all just grew up together,
right?
But like they'll call all of us cousins. I mean, I don't because you're not my cousin, but
yeah, but
I'm not a huge. I don't like.
But everyone else like does it, but
like everybody in my neighborhood had all these cousins, and I would meet them, and they used to get to talk about like their aunts and shit. I'm like, but that's a different aunt than you got, and Oh yeah, I'm not fucking cousins. And
My neighbor did that shit the other day. He was like telling a story. It's like about he and I were lifting up a pool table. He was like, bro, on your side, come on, brother, my back. And I thought he meant like brother. But then his wife comes over, he's like, this is my brother Ben. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, I'm your neighbor, bro. Like, what are you talking about? It just got weird.
I hate you, bro.
Yeah, I hate that shit. And then in the same like day, he referred to me as his cousin. Like,
so one of my best friends growing up, this dude Mario, he passed in 2010, but like he used to call me his brother all the time. Like when we were out at they'd be like, this is my brother.
Yeah.
Make sure that he gets
it's different though.
He was older, and he paid for my way. I was a kid, and he paid for my way, like the whole thing. But like, I used to be like, so like I am 5'11", and at the time, white, 180.
5'11".
Yeah.
You ain't no 5'11".
I'm 5'11".
No fucking way.
See?
What, you for real?
See?
Look at my physical paperwork.
Not on your back. When you're standing up on your feet.
On my back.
It was a dick joke.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you, like that. I wouldn't lie about being 5'11". If I was going to lie, I'd say 6 foot.
What are you?
5'7".
I'm 5'7". And we both don't think you 5'11".
Are you 5'7"?
I'm 5'7".
Yeah, that's what I get told. Like,
yeah, I mean, we can measure you. I mean, I know exactly what I am because I'm always like, man, if I was only, I could say I was 6
Maybe
foot.
you just have terrible posture.
But that might be true. I
maybe. I don't know. Man. That's kind of wild, man.
Yeah. So anyway, and now this dude is like 6'3", black, 300 pounds. Well, he would have gotten mad, Afro-Cuban. He would have gotten mad,
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. It's like the Dominican thing. It's like the same shit. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah, Dominicans can't.
Yeah,
they racist.
So like, he would be like, "This is my brother." I'd be like, "Why even bother, man? She knows that we're not." We couldn't look. You know what I mean? Like,
could be adopted
further. But anyway, I don't know how I got. Oh yeah, so yeah.
Oh yeah, referring to.
Next one is from Ibuka. Hey, NR crew, apologies for not writing in for a while. No worries, no harm, no foul. Does the hyperbolic reactions to media, negative or positive, affect your ability to review it? For example, I recently started watching The Boys, and like many, I really enjoy it, but the way people were describing the show, I was expecting to become a soup after seeing an episode of it. So it took me some time to be able to tell if I didn't like the show as much as others, or if I did and was just using normal, for lack of better term, vocabulary when thinking about it. Is this something any of you experience, or is this just a me thing? That's about it. Thanks for your pod and for your time. So I don't know. I mean, I will say, like, I'm an anti-hype beast guy. So like, I know that like the moment that you're like, are you serious? Like, then I'm usually like, fuck this thing. Like, it better be fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So I know that about myself. And I know that like a lot of times when I see people using shit as a tool to kind of express something else, that can irritate me,
Yeah.
And put me in a place where I'm not giving the shit a fair shot. Like, Passion of the Christ, for instance, right? Before I saw it, I just saw all the kind of media stuff about, the anti-Semitic message of it and all this. And I just hated that it was wrapped up in this other thing. But luckily for myself anyway, I was able to go in there with a clear, and I quite liked it. I'm not the biggest religious person in the world, but like, it's my favorite devil for one in any media. And
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah. And I thought it was solid. I mean, the story. Like, I don't know why people were surprised.
I know how this one ends.
Yeah, like it's like going into Titanic and mad that you're taking it out on the boat builders. Like, no, it's a fucking, So I didn't even feel like they were like, I didn't even feel like it was anti-Semitic, to be honest with you. I just felt like it was like, this happened, but I didn't see they were like, as a result, it's their fault. Like with the Disney voice, them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the two things that could turn me off. Anything from.
I'm pretty open minded. Like, I don't really let too much like the outside media or like other people influence if I'm going to like something or not. Like, I just go open minded. Like, okay, people say this about it. I'm gonna go out and check it out for myself. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. You know?
I'm much more likely to not like something like if somebody's like it's based on somebody's opinion. Like, if somebody's opinion who I respect, about that stuff, if they're like, dude, this is good, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna check it out. But if somebody's opinion who I do not respect on that stuff, where they're like,
I don't even know why you're having this conversation with me.
or they're like, dude, this is good. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, is it? I bet it is.
My brother will be like, yo, did you see? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to now because you said it was good.
How many
So
times
bad.
did somebody get kicked in the mouth? Huh? Probably lots. You know, like, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then Sam M. He says, what is the cinematic quality that some shows have and some shows just don't? I've tried so hard to describe this to friends in discussing Obi-Wan, which I overall enjoyed. I argue that Obi-Wan is missing that cinematic quality. You can show me 30 seconds of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. versus 30 seconds of any MCU movie, take out the sound on both, pretend I knew nothing of either property, and I'd be able to tell which is a TV show and which is a movie just on visual aesthetics. Mm-hmm. When I bring this up to people, they mention story, plot, characters, etc. This is not what I mean. I found something very frustrating in my ability to communicate what I mean in this one. Have I lost my mind?
Somebody missed last week's episode.
Well, I know exactly what he's talking about. You know, it comes down to cinematography. You know, and I think that some of that, I don't know enough about it.
It's deliberate. It's deliberate.
I don't want to sound like an idiot, but some of it might be related to aspect ratio, whereas TV shot in a different ratio.
Remember
than film.
Fuck the Marvel joint with all the different. The B-list fucking...
the Defenders?
No, the movie. Was it Defenders? No,
that wasn't a movie.
The movie.
Eternals?
Eternals. Eternals came out, and they went to streaming service, and I was like, I'm going to watch it. I think I texted you. And I was like, what the fuck is up with this? And it was the ratio. Because you could pick which one it was, and I didn't realize that. I just hit play.
Right.
And I was like, this joint is some straight shit.
Yeah, I think the ratio has a big... But I think that also, like, they don't film... And once again, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But I'm not sure if all TV chooses to film in that aspect ratio, and it automatically changes the dynamics.
I mean, everything, man. Like
depth of field and everything in the shot. There's a lot that goes into. There's a lot of technical shit that goes into that.
Yeah, you talk about, all right, so you're making a movie, which is like, you know, I mean, shows last forever, but so do movies. But there's more of an effort. There's more. You're gonna hire the best director. You're not gonna hire
better quality equipment and all that.
Yeah, everything. It's pretty. To me, it's kind of a self-explanatory thing. The budget's smaller.
So I agree, but I also see his point where, like, I agree, it's a self-explanatory thing. Until it's Star Wars.
We're still growing, though. I think there's tricks to there's little things that they can learn, like the lens filters and shit like that, and like there's things that you can do.
You would think these Star Wars people have an idea. Like, you just don't get Star Wars.
You're talking about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, but I think that way about all of it. Like, Robert Rodriguez did most of season 2. No, Boba Fett. He did most of Boba Fett. And Robert Rodriguez is a filmmaker.
I didn't watch it because of you guys.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But like,
but it didn't look cinematic.
But it doesn't look cinematic, and neither does Mando to me.
Yeah, Mando to me definitely doesn't look cinematic at all.
And it's the same with this recent one, the Obi-Wan show. It just looks...
I bet there's somebody else listening that knows the answers.
Yeah.
And I think it's something broad, which is like simply just budget, effort, time. But then I'm sure there's more to it, like you're trying
more
to delve
technical
into,
stuff,
like
lenses and aspect
film
ratios
and all other stuff.
Right. CGI, like what company would you
quality
use?
CGI compared to, you know, I'm sure like movies have a bigger budget, better quality stuff that you use for CGI compared to, like you said, TV show with a smaller budget.
Or even it's still a business. It might be an opportunity to say, hey, look, try this CGI company, see how it goes. And then if they're great and it was cheaper, we'll use it in the movie on the next one or something along those lines. Like, it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know what the business end is of it. Like, you know, because it seems like some of it wouldn't. Some of the shit they're already doing, like those fucking volume things or whatever that is, like where it's basically a video game background that they're filming in front of, like Obi-Wan and shit do. It's basically like a huge movie theater with in the background and then sand and shit in the foreground, and like it's like a video game. When the camera moves, the background footage moves. So it's like the same way like you're playing a video game and you make a right and the whole screen makes a right.
Oh.
So it's like that. So it's like that. That's what they're filming all the Star Wars shit on, and you imagine that's expensive.
I mean, right? But if they already had it, it's not going.
Well, I think they got it. I think they did it for Mando.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's obviously an investment that they've been able to use time and time and time again. But like, I don't know if that. But I mean, the same shit. It's like a lot of shit doesn't feel that way, you know. And then like some shit, like The Boys feels like a movie.
Oh my god,
it's shot like a movie.
I know. I don't. That's a good question.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what
Chris
it is.
used to be in the film industry,
but it's a yeah, that's true. It's a visual thing, and I don't know if like in my mind it comes down to cinematography, lighting, aspect ratio, and camera lens and depth is what springs to my mind. But I don't know what it is about those things that make it look one way or another. Esteban wrote in, he said, unexpected treasure. Hello, everyone. Have any of you purchased something regular for your collection or for yourselves and then realized it had some value in it? I recently was able to meet Claudia Gray and had her sign my copy of Star Wars Bloodline. While in line to meet her, I started talking to the other people waiting, and when the topic of what we were going to get signed came up, I pulled out my hardcover copy. Suddenly, my fellow book nerd went quiet, and they asked me if it was the first printing. Turns out it is, and they were all jealous. I know first edition books are a thing in real literature, but I don't think it mattered in fiction and fantasy. Have you guys ever found this? Well, I wonder what it's worth, because I'm pretty sure I have that.
Uh-oh.
And I will sell the fuck out of it.
Mag come up.
No, it's Claudia Gray's Bloodline. It's a Leia book. It's one of the better ones from the Disney era novels. But so I can't say that I've had that necessarily. Well, here's the thing. Like, if I were to relate it to something, not the best conversation necessarily to have with these two gentlemen, but like Fans Toys Transformers, when it started to become known that they were $60 to $80 pieces that were now going for $700 to $800 in some places, I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting on a fucking gold mine of this shit. And you know, it is interesting. For me, it's more interesting when, like, now that you know you have this thing that is worth so much, and you have to really decide what something is worth to you. Is it worth having it, or it's $60 you bought it, or $80 you bought it for $80? It was worth $80 to you, but is it worth $700 to you?
Yeah.
It may not be.
right?
You know,
And what did you get out of it? You know,
as it turns out for me, I didn't sell a thing. You know, because I think that it specifically to me wasn't worth $700, but the whole finished look of the whole space to me is what's worth $700.
I know a lot of this stuff, like especially with the comic books, man, like things will peak. Like if you hear a rumor that, you know, Miss Marvel's getting made and you had one random Miss Marvel comic book, you know, I'd flip that thing faster than hotcakes. Like, you know what I mean? But if it was like one of your figures, like something that, like for instance, I took a picture of that Clark Kent with the doves. I probably would never sell that.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's Iron Studios. I've been singing Iron Studios praises for some time. They're fucking fantastic.
I think, like, I just love the way it looks. I love the way. My point is, like, I mean, I don't collect things like that normally, but if it meant something to me, and then all of a sudden everybody else determines, hey, this is worth something. I knew that the whole time. I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to keep it.
Right.
Unless I'm fucking hurting for money, then.
Well, what was that thing that you just said that you realized that it was worth some money?
Oh, the Last Ronin.
Oh, the Last Ronin.
Yeah, and again, I read that comic book, and comics are funny. Like a lot of them now, especially Marvel, if you get the comic book, you scan the QR code and you can read it online. That way you don't get the creases and stuff in it. And I don't know if that's unique anywhere else, but so I read The Last Ronin, but I physically read it and loved it. Loved the cover. It's one of those that I really genuinely like.
It's Michelangelo, right?
Yeah. No, spoiler.
Sorry, I mean, it's old as hell.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. But perfect example. I would like to keep that one. It's one of my favorite comic books. Won't sell. But there was another character that was introduced in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was if I'm not mistaken, it was a rat. She's either an albino turtle or she was a rabbit. I can't remember because I didn't give a shit. Right. It was part of the story where I was like, this is lame, but I had it and it went through the roof.
Really?
I forget what the reasoning was. I don't care, but I flipped it and I made like 300 on it. Like, but that's something I'm more than willing. I didn't. I had it by chance. I didn't really give a shit about it. Then there's things you lose on. I bought the new Harley Quinn. I can't even remember her name now. She's the Joker's new girlfriend.
Oh, the Joker's girlfriend. Isn't that her name?
No, that's
the Joker's daughter. I forget. It's like Punchline.
Punchline. That's it. Yeah. Punchline. I thought she was gonna blow up and everything was trending that way, and then something happened at DC where somebody hit the brakes on it. I was like, damn, but I'm gonna hold on to them and I think they'll be worth something. But yeah, that's just I get it. Everyone is different, I think.
I keep looking down there to see if I got that book. I'm pretty sure I do. I'm gonna have to look up what that shit's worth.
It sounds like you're in the mood to sell.
I might be in the mood to sell.
Yeah.
And actually, I do like that.
Yeah, you don't even know where it is
because
you might as well.
It dealt with Kylo and / Ben and their relationship to Leia, and a bit more with Leia's relationship to Han that I found interesting. Even to suggest that Kylo had sent Leia a letter to evacuate a building that was going to be attacked prior to it being attacked, like in an attempt to save her.
What a guy, man.
What a guy.
I went to a brewery the other day, and I had Yesenia with me, and Star Wars happened to be on TV, and then they had like little pop figures and stuff. I was like, oh, clearly these guys like Star Wars. So it was literally the scene where Luke and Darth Vader. He's like, I am your father.
Spoilers?
That scene. Yeah, I know, right? It's been long enough. And I was like, you ever watch this? And she was like, no, I never watched it. I've always been meaning to. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, so that is his dad. She's like, that's crazy. I was like, he's saying it right now. I'm like saying the words because it's on mute.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I am your father. Like, duh. She's like, okay, you can stop being so cheesy. I was like, that's his sister. She's like, what? And they were like kissing. It was at the end. I was like, yeah, I think, and I don't remember. Did they have sex or did they just kiss?
No, they kiss at Hoth. Okay. That's where they kiss.
Well, I made it weirder for her. I was like, yeah, they had sex because they didn't know there was brother and sister.
No, that's too much.
And she was like, you watched it? And I was like, yeah, it was like,
well, she's definitely not watching that anymore.
Yeah. I said, babe, they didn't know.
Dude, and like, you know, I always bring that scene up because like Luke is a real fuck up in that shit. And, you know, they basically get out of that circumstance without his help. If you watch that movie, he goes to save them.
You talking about at Hoth?
No, at Cloud City.
Oh,
He goes to Cloud City to save them, but Lando is the one that already had a plan in place.
Right. That's
He turns on and Lando gets them out of there. Luke only gets himself jammed up and then has to use the Force to phone call Leia back into harm's way to come pick his limp ass up hanging off that fucking thing, you know? Like
hilarious.
And then like this is why I get so mad at the episode 8 haters where they're like, well, Luke is a goddamn hero. And I'm like, when?
Yeah, when? Yeah, good point.
When? Lando's a goddamn hero. Lando already did the work. No wonder Lando didn't want to go back. He just did the work to get him free. I never thought about that too. Where they're like, we have to go back, and Lando's like, wait a minute,
hold the fuck up,
you know. And then they're like, all right. You know, but it's like, of course he doesn't want to. He just fucking put everything in check. But he probably lost the robot head dude. He's probably, you know, he's probably gone.
Lando's like the black dude in every fucking scary movie. Like, why would we go in there? Not the room with the chainsaw.
Hey, he made it though, man. Survivor.
Exactly.
Lone survivor.
With that, do you guys have anything else?
Oh man, that was a long episode.
Yeah. Shout out to the rest of the cool table. Shout out to you guys for coming through. Also, I appreciate you both coming. And shout out to the rest of the Nerve Rage team. Shout out to Dante on the Facebook and Phil.
No thought of the weeks. Yeah, cool, dude.
Phil, let's see.
Philly Phil, man.
Philly Phil.
Touchy feely.
Touchy Philly.
Touchy Philly Phil.
Let's see what we got here. If we can't find something, here we go.
All right. Better put your hats on backwards, because it's time for Marilyn Phil's Thought of the Week. Let's see who he's simping for today.
All right. I'm not going to be able to do that every time, but I do enjoy listening to it. Let's see. Always safe to go to tweets and replies. Oh, God. Oh,
yes.
God.
Oh, yes.
So it's this girl, shout out to her, at tatted_Khaleesi.
Okay, I already like the sound of that.
So she's got a picture here of herself on a motorcycle. The old two-wheeler, if you will. And she says, and it's Black Canary that she's cosplaying as. And she says, I'll sing a song, but you'll feel the pain. And then Phil responds, only thing painful here is how fire this pick is.
Not one of his best.
That's it.
All right. But shout out to Phil on our notes and on Twitter. Shout out to Raul on Instagram. Shout out to Ricky Ticky Timber on the video. Shout out to Joe and Chris who couldn't be here this week. And with that,
crusty cuticles.
Big simp energy.
Tight dick player.